10 6-year-old toddlers underwent physique baptism simultaneously. 9 awakened heaven-defying physiques. Among them there was no lack of invincible youths who awakened dual pupils. And the ancient sacred body, with the potential of a great emperor. Only you turned out to be an ordinary mortal body. Yet the elder did not show a hint of disgust. Instead he excitedly sent you into a baptismal pool, with even greater energy. At this moment the 17th elder Lu Changming's figure flashed. He came directly above the giant cauldron and pulled you out. Then threw you into another relatively smaller cauldron, which was also filled with precious blood and spiritual materials. After being thrown into the small cauldron, you could clearly see the increased speed of energy points accelerated by more than double. This made you very excited. You bet right. And even more excited than you was the 17th elder Lu Changming. After seeing your continuously upgrading realm, his gaze was incredibly eager, as if looking at a rare and precious treasure. 21st layer. 27th layer. 32nd layer. Good, very good. Ha ha ha, my Lu family has added another peerless genius. In the great wilderness, after reaching the 10th layer of the blood-moving realm, one can begin to advance to the next realm. The gap between each major realm is incomparably huge. The gap between realms is like a massive chasm. Very difficult to cross. But for large families, what they value more is the foundation. And the most intuitive expression of this foundation is the remolding of the realm. Generally speaking, it is always reaching a point of no further progress within a realm. Before attempting to step into the next major realm, you broke through consecutively in this short period of time, directly crossing the limit that ordinary people can reach. And you are far from reaching your own upper limit. This means your potential is incomparably huge. Enough to become a future giant. Inside the small cauldron, you soaked your entire body in this more advanced baptismal liquid, occasionally opening your mouth to take a couple of gulps, to make the energy points increase more efficiently. My choice was indeed not wrong. If I had hidden it, how could I have been thrown into this pool? Looking at the energy value that increased by dozens almost every second, you felt delighted in your heart. You didn't hold back at all. Whenever the energy value reached a certain level, you would consume it all. For the current you, saving energy points is also for breaking through realms. It's better to use them all at once, to demonstrate your maximum value. Upon seeing your almost terrifying and seemingly limitless upgrade speed, Lu Changming's mouth corners were as if hooked by something. He couldn't suppress his smile at all. This kind of aptitude can at least be listed as a sequence. Receiving cultivation with the family's maximum resources. It's just a pity that you didn't awaken any powerful physique. Otherwise perhaps even the patriarchs would be alarmed. At the same time, inside the giant cauldron, surprisingly several children after the baptism displayed extraordinary anomalies. Someone was emitting golden light all over. The aura inside their body was as if from antiquity. Profound and terrifying. Their whole body's blood chi was as majestic and astonishing as a savage blood beast. There was also someone who awakened dual pupils. Eyes revealing divine light commanding life and death. Even more so after their physique awakened. They actually instinctively drew upon the area beneath the giant cauldron. That exceptionally high-quality beast fire. How is this possible? After seeing these anomalies, even Lu Changming couldn't help but exclaim aloud. Ancient sacred body. Dual pupils. Sun sacred body. Every single one of these is the most top-tier physique. Even though the Lu family is within the great wilderness, one of the 4 most powerful top-tier families, they have never seen such a scene before. Soon a flash of inspiration crossed Lu Changming's mind. He froze his body, muttering in his mouth. A golden era. This is the omen of a golden era coming. At the first moment of realization, Lu Changming directly reported it upwards. After these children awakened powerful physiques, they were all thrown into the small cauldron where you were. The materials in the 2 cauldrons were different. Their main functions were also not entirely the same. The giant cauldron was mainly to stimulate potential and awaken physiques, while the small cauldron was specifically for after the physique awakening, prepared for the geniuses stepping onto the path of cultivation. As for you who didn't awaken a physique, but was also thrown into the small cauldron, it was because Lu Changming believed that with your cultivation aptitude, you were enough to be listed among the geniuses. And to this day, he didn't feel his decision was problematic in the slightest. Because at this moment you had already reached the 100th layer of the blood-moving realm. Upon seeing others being thrown in, You immediately felt a sense of urgency. Because the energy in this small cauldron is limited. If others share it, what you could ultimately absorb would naturally decrease. But you couldn't directly take action to throw these people back out. So you could only increase your absorption power. Having already reached the 100th layer of blood moving, under the complete crushing advantage of your realm, your whole person was like a vortex, constantly swallowing these energies. Its absorption rate far exceeded the others. It was dozens or hundreds of times theirs. The only thing that made you pay some attention was a pale chubby little fat boy, who directly started gorging himself in the small cauldron. Although his energy absorption rate couldn't compare to yours, it also far exceeded the others. Under the unreserved absorption of you two, some of the other geniuses helplessly opened their eyes and withdrew from the cultivation process. There was no way they really couldn't compete for the energy. However, Lu Changming also noticed this point. He had never imagined that the baptismal medicinal bath, prepared by the dignified Lu family, would actually one day be insufficient. Disgrace. A massive disgrace. Immediately Lu Changming flipped his hands. A drop of blood resembling a blood-red jade diamond appeared in his hands. The moment the blood appeared, a faint dragon roar sounded in the void. It was actually true dragon blood. Lu Changming flung out the true dragon blood in his hand and grasped at the void. Mana surged in the air. In just an instant, most of the spirituality within this drop of true dragon blood was obliterated. Then it was thrown into the small cauldron. The moment it just touched the water surface, it dissolved into it. An unimaginably majestic energy instantly filled the small cauldron at this moment. The blood of a true dragon. Even if it's just the most ordinary blood, even after being refined to wear down most of its power, the energy contained within it is definitely not something that those who just stepped onto the path of cultivation, ordinary children, could withstand. But these were peerless geniuses. For them it was just right. Naturally you didn't think that much. Now you were completely immersed in the surging energy points. Energy points plus 84. Plus 78 plus 95. Every second several notification sounds would ring out. Time passed minute by minute, second by second. Those peerless geniuses who awakened physiques, after thoroughly developing their own physiques, consecutively upgraded more than a dozen layers in the blood-moving realm, then withdrew from the cultivation state. Under Lu Changming's guidance they left the small cauldron one by one. This was already their limit. If they continued to forcefully cultivate, although they could still upgrade, it would result in an unstable foundation. The loss would outweigh the gain. So much so that after the last little fat boy left the small cauldron, only you were left inside the small cauldron, still constantly cultivating. And the realm was also constantly upgrading, as if there would never be an end. So powerful. The little toddler Lu Hao couldn't help but say while looking at you in the cauldron. Indeed extraordinary. The highest of us only upgraded to the 20th layer of blood moving. And he has already surpassed the 1000th layer. The youth who awakened dual pupils was named Lu Yi. His dual pupils were activated, constantly watching you. 1000 layers. Unfortunately, it's just a mortal body, ultimately unable to reach the peak. Lu Chun, bearing the heavenly demon body, spoke. There was no mockery in his tone, but carried some regret. In the great wilderness, what truly decides talent has always been the various powerful physiques. This is an eternally unchanging law. Lu Changming nodded secretly in his heart. What Lu Chen said was not wrong. The achievements a mortal body can ultimately reach are very few. However, he always had a feeling. Perhaps this mortal body belonging to their Lu family right before him would be different. After a period of time, you swallowed the last wisp of energy. At the same time your final realm settled. Opening the panel. Host, Lu Qingyun. Soul-bound. Energy points, 168, 9712. Realm. Blood-moving realm, 2789th layer. Nearly 17 million energy points. Over 2,700 layers of the blood-moving realm. If all the energy points were added, it could even directly reach nearly 20,000 layers of the blood-moving realm. This could not be called anything but exaggerated. Alright, the first baptism has ended. You 10 little ones follow me to meet the patriarchs. After pulling you out, Lu Changming spoke. What's going on? You didn't expect that the over 2,000 layers of blood-moving realm you revealed didn't even make this elder surprised. You even saw regret in this elder's eyes. Could it be it was too little? That shouldn't be. It was equivalent to continuously breaking through realms without stopping from the moment you went in. Could he still be dissatisfied with this? Although you could directly break through another 10,000 plus layers. But you felt the reason shouldn't be here. And when you looked at the rest of your companions, a gradual realization dawned in your heart. Because among the 10 people traveling together, you were the only one without a powerful physique. It's fine though, since I can meet the patriarchs together with them. At least it shows. My talent has already entered the sights of the family's highest level. No matter what, it's impossible to lack cultivation resources in the future. You didn't try to win back face either. By performing an out-of-thin-air breakthrough of over 10,000 layers on the spot. Doing that would just be idiotic. Under Lu Changming's lead, you all traveled all the way to the deepest part of the Divine Mountain. In front of an ancient stone stele, Lu Changming stopped his body, signaling for you to continue forward. Before you could react, you were already in the Lu family's most secretive forbidden ground. Ahead was a large lake, glistening with ripples. From time to time big fish leaped out of the water, splashing slight ripples. An old man in a straw raincoat sat by the lake. One person, one rod, plus an empty fish bucket. At the first glance of the old man in the raincoat, a wave of dizziness struck. But it only lasted for a moment. Detected external energy auto-devouring. Energy value plus 26,412. The system's notification sound rang. It actually added over 20,000 energy points. You little guy are actually unaffected by the illusion. A sudden voice sounded by your ear, instantly making your hair stand on end. The cultivation of nearly 3,000 layers of the blood-moving realm burst out with a boom. Blood chi erupted like a volcano. The powerful force was enough to shatter a small mountain. But a wrinkled hand rested on your shoulder. All the blood chi fell into calmness at this moment, as if nothing had happened at all. The fishing old man gently patted your shoulder again and said, "You child really can't take a joke. What are you afraid of here? Don't make a big fuss. If you don't enter the illusion, then don't affect the other little ones." After the blood chi was suppressed, you even felt your mind become much clearer. Looking around, the children who came in with you all had their eyes tightly shut, as if undergoing some extremely difficult trial. However, why did this old man's words have a vibe of, if you don't want to learn, don't hinder those who want to learn? But I want to learn. Patriarch, please give Junior another chance. Your attitude was exceptionally sincere. You didn't think that just because you weren't affected by the illusion, you would naturally become the first. And good things would naturally be your turn first. That was not realistic. Of course you were actually being a bit practical. It was 20,000 energy points per time after all. As soon as the words fell, the familiar dizziness struck. This time it didn't even last for an instant. Energy points plus 28,718. He satisfied. You little guy are indeed somewhat special. This old man is getting somewhat interested in you. The fishing old man walked around you looking left and right. It was completely dissolved the moment it affected the soul. Meaning the soul is special. You looked at the fishing old man and said somewhat embarrassedly, "Patriarch, can we do it once more?" "Don't worry, I will definitely be affected this time." Greedy, you tried to fleece him one more time. It's your own family's patriarch anyway. Might as well fleece him. Only facing your inquiry. The fishing old man didn't answer. Instead, keeping a faint smile. His entire person gradually dissipated before you. Behind you, the fishing old man's voice sounded. "Yo-ho, it really is just something special with the soul. Otherwise you wouldn't fail to see through even the simplest eye-blinding illusion. A pity, I thought it was another top-tier physique. But there's no need to ask for too much. 9 great top-tier physiques perfectly match us 9 old fogies. Teaching one each." Listening to the fishing old man's meaning, it meant the others would be taught by them individually one-on-one. Out of 10 people, 9 were chosen. The remaining one who wasn't chosen was in a very awkward position. You wanted to struggle a bit more. And continued saying, "Patriarch, is there a possibility that I have a top-tier cultivation physique? You see, my blood moving is nearly at 3,000 layers. It's very exaggerated, okay? Haha, little guy. What you say makes some sense. So we decided to list you in the sequence of the Lu family. Treated equally in terms of resources. You won't lack anything that they have. You might even get more." Hearing this, your eyes lit up. "Then it's fine. As long as my resources aren't deducted. As for whether a patriarch teaches me, you actually didn't care about that. With the system around anyway. As long as resources aren't lacking, energy points wouldn't be lacking. Moreover, without a patriarch's teaching, it also means your upgrades wouldn't be constantly stared at by someone. It's much more free. However, although inwardly overjoyed, your expression remained incredibly depressed, as if having suffered a great grievance. With the fishing old man's strength and experience, he naturally saw through your act at a glance. But since ancient times, the crying child gets the milk. And you're also a genius of his own family. Naturally, he had to give some good stuff. Immediately, the fishing old man shot out a divine light. Wrapped inside was a fiery red, qilin-shaped fruit, sealing it within your body. This is a holy medicine fruit. Its level is too high for the current you. After you break through to the cave heaven realm, the seal will naturally lift. To help you complete a sublimation, the fishing old man's voice became ethereal. Until it disappeared. You had already been sent out of that space. Seeing you come out alone, Lu Changming didn't feel surprised. Stepping forward, seeing you with your head down and not speaking, he comforted. The sixth patriarch has already told me. From today onwards, you are one of the sequences of my Lu family. All resources, cultivation methods, and divine abilities are all available for you to view and learn freely. Even the absolute arts of the patriarchs are the same. The only difference is the personal teaching of the patriarchs. You don't need to worry about this aspect either. Our Lu family lacks nothing less than experts. You can choose freely. After hearing these words, you appeared calm and collected on the surface. But actually you were extremely excited. All resources, cultivation methods, and divine abilities free for you to view. If you were just a normal genius, naturally, you wouldn't progress as fast as being under the patriarch's teaching. But the problem is you're not normal. An add point system definitely isn't just about adding points to realms. When the time comes, just a casual tap. Isn't that much more comfortable than grueling daily special training? After this you were taken to a divine peak. Atop the divine peak, various rare beasts were everywhere. Spiritual energy gathered into a murmuring lake. At the very peak stood an exceptionally massive divine palace, shimmering with brilliant colors under the radiance. The entire palace was carved from an unimaginably huge single piece of white jade, naturally possessing the effect of an energy-gathering array, which is commonly known as jade nourishing the person. From today onwards, you are my Lu family's number 13 sequence. This is your exclusive palace, the Lingua Palace. Guards and attendants are currently being formed. They will be responsible for your subsequent safety, as well as daily affairs. Lu Changming briefly introduced the situation to you, and left after confirming you roughly grasped it all, leaving you alone standing solitarily in the exceptionally deserted Grand Hall. The only things accompanying you were mountains piled high, of massive resources calculated in tons. Looking at these resources, you almost smiled so wide your mouth cracked. Array activated. Sitting cross-legged on the myriad-year black ice bed, you casually threw a millennium vermilion fruit into your mouth. It burst with juice in one bite. Energy points plus 120. Looking at the energy points that had long passed 1,000,000, you casually tapped. 100,000 energy points consumed. Blood-moving realm upgraded by another 1,000 layers. After the realm reached a certain number of layers, you found that you could upgrade a massive amount of realms at once. Of course, this was related to your original realm. It's impossible for a strength of 1,000 layers to directly leap to 1,000,000 layers in one step. Naturally, you weren't that extravagant either. The commotion of breaking through 1,000 layers at once was huge. The blood chi in your whole body erupted like a furnace. Crimson blood chi filled the grand hall, blocked by the array. Just adding points time and time again like this, until all the energy points were squandered clean. Finally you opened your eyes. Your entire aura had changed significantly. Incomparably powerful strength made you feel that a single punch could punch a hole in the sky itself. Host, Lu Qingyun soul-bound. Energy points, 2364. Realm, blood-moving realm, 21,564th layer. 20,000 layers of the blood-moving secret realm. Under the piling of massive resources, the limit that some geniuses could reach after polishing themselves for years was only 10,000 layers. Ultimately only able to break through to the next cave heaven realm. Yet today you just underwent the first baptism. Counting everything, it hasn't even been a single day. And you directly surpassed the limits that geniuses could reach. You were also quite satisfied with this. Energy points plus 135. plus 245 plus 187. Massive medicinal power accumulated in your body. Under the system's Devouring. Providing you with energy points every single moment. Which meant you could actually do nothing. Just eat and drink every day. And your realm could still upgrade like riding a rocket. You didn't choose to continue adding points. You decided to save up first. To break through thousands of layers all at once later. Time passed without knowing when. It was already evening. You turned off the array. And opened the palace doors. Hundreds of people stood outside the door. A tall and burly strongman. And a lady with a slender figure. A beautiful and dignified woman stood at the very front. After seeing you, they immediately bowed and saluted saying, Captain of the Guards Zhao Chun. Head Attendant Yang Mei. Pay respects to the sequence. At this moment you waved your hand. Your tone was neither surprised nor delighted, very plain. What is your strength? Replying to the sequence. I am at the True God realm. In the guard squad besides me, and the vice captain being true gods. The remaining 100 people are all at the peak of the Nirvana realm. When Zhao Chen said this, there was not a bit of arrogance. A true god might be a major figure capable of dominating a region in the outside world. But this is the Lu family. Not to mention true gods. Even those with stronger cultivation. Were not few in number. True god. You stroked your chin. The look in your eyes towards Zhao Chun became a bit dangerous. If you remembered correctly, during the baptism today, the blood Lu Changming put in later came from a true dragon. And true dragons generally seem to be at the true god realm. Does that mean this Zhao Chen's blood also has the same effect? Your gaze made Zhao Chen's heart tighten a bit, vaguely seeming to have a bad premonition. Fortunately, you ultimately retracted your gaze. After all, you don't lack resources right now. There's no need to use this kind of method. You may step down. You waved your hand, letting the two go down to busy themselves. While you gorged yourself on a big meal. After accumulating majestic medicinal power in your body, you directly lay on the bed and went to sleep. The next day when you woke up, the first thing you did was replenish the accumulated medicinal power in your body. This concerned your energy points. You couldn't slack off. Opening the panel, you checked the system's hard-earned results from this whole night. Host, Lu Qingyun soul-bound. Energy points, 5 million. Realm, blood-moving realm 21,000th layer. Not bad, not bad. I'm very satisfied. With the system's hard-earned results from an entire night. You were highly satisfied. Just by sleeping, you could obtain such a massive amount of energy points. Truly upgrading while lying down. The higher the level, the higher the efficiency of absorbing energy. That is to say, what I need to upgrade the most is the efficiency of energy absorption. You quickly determined the area you most needed to strengthen now. Yang Mei, subordinate is here. As soon as the voice fell, Yang Mei's figure appeared before you. I need all high-level cultivation methods related to devouring. Yes, Yang Mei took the order. As your head attendant, Yang Mei naturally possessed your authority. So much so that after a while, some of the cultivation methods she brought back were terrifyingly high in level. Sequence. A total of 33 high-level cultivation methods related to devouring were found. And 73 divine abilities. Due to time constraints, a large number of lower-level methods and abilities were not collected. If the sequence needs them, I will immediately send people to compile them. Yang Mei's efficiency was very high. Of course, it could also be said that the Lu family was very generous to sequences. Regarding a sequence's demands, it was always about high quality and high efficiency completion. No need, these are enough. You took the jade slips containing those cultivation methods and divine abilities. After letting Yang Mei step down, you directly sank your consciousness into them. For a moment, all the cultivation method information transmitted into your mind. Abyssal Devour. Universal Ash. Myriad Transformation. Heaven Swallowing Art. Every single title was extremely resounding. If any single one drifted out into the great wilderness, it could overturn an ancient kingdom in an instant. But here with you, they were like cheap cabbages free to be picked. Ultimately, you chose the cultivation method with the shortest length, returning ruin chant. Drawing all things into the silent void. Hailed as the ultimate devouring. This was an incomplete cultivation method. Currently, it only had the methods for the first 3 layers. But even with just the first 3 layers, it possessed effects no weaker than any high-level devouring cultivation method. Because as long as one could reach the 3rd layer, One could rival the Tao Tai sacred body in terms of devouring. This was terrifying to say the least. In your memory, among those 9 people who awakened powerful physiques, there was a pale chubby little fat boy, who awakened the Tao Tai sacred body. If you hadn't relied on your realm advantage at the time, you probably wouldn't have out-absorbed that little fat boy. This showed the power of the Tao Tai sacred body. And this returning ruin chant, just by reaching the 3rd layer, could give you a devouring effect comparable to the Tao Tai sacred body. It could be called the best choice. After confirming your choice, you infuse the content of the returning ruin chant into your own mind. Just as the infusion finished, a cultivation method section appeared on the panel. Cultivation method, returning ruin chant. Uncomprehended. When you saw the cultivation method section appear, your heart leapt with joy. Because this meant your conjecture held true. Cultivation methods, divine abilities and such could all be directly and endlessly added to with energy points. Added until you were tired of it. Only the number of energy points required was a bit large. It needed 1 million right from the start. One could imagine that even more would be needed later. Isn't it just 1 million? Add. Although you were somewhat worried about the required energy points later on. But the current 1 million was absolutely nothing to you. With a shift of thought, the energy points plummeted by 1 million directly. The returning ruin chant, which only had 3 layers in total, actually directly reached the 1st layer. Instantly, you felt as if all the cells in your body were thirsting for energy. The notification sounds by your ear also constantly changed. Energy points plus 125. Soon the acquisition speed of energy points increased several times. Although just looking at the upgrade amount per instance, there wasn't a massive change. But looking at it long term, it was extremely terrifying. At this time you counted the energy points required for the 2nd layer. Your mouth twitched. 8 zeros. 100 million. You really dare to ask? A full 100 times. The scale of this jump was indeed somewhat large. It would require you to save up for at least 3 days to gather enough. But the more you pay, the greater the return. When the time comes, your devouring efficiency would skyrocket again. Of course there were still costs to pay. That would be the corresponding amount of cultivation resources. But resources were exactly what you didn't lack. Sequence. The 17th elder has arrived. Yang Mei's voice sounded outside the door. You got up and opened the palace doors, only to see Lu Changming walking in hurriedly. The moment he saw you, he grabbed you and said, "You chose a cultivation method yourself. Which one did you choose?" Returning ruin chant. Is there a problem? The returning ruin chant. Good thing, as long as you haven't successfully cultivated it, it's fine. Upon hearing returning ruin chant, Lu Changming let out a long sigh of relief. It's a good thing you chose this extremely difficult cultivation method. If you had chosen an easy-to-learn one, my sin would have been great. Blame me for not telling you. Choosing a cultivation method requires choosing the same one as your own master. That way you can receive the most effective teaching. Originally, I came today to let you choose your future master. I didn't expect you to have already chosen a cultivation method yourself. A strong heart seeking the Tao. Not bad. Lu Changming praised you for a bit, while you silently raised your hand. A black vortex faintly appeared in your hand. This was exactly the mark of successfully cultivating the returning ruin chant. Actually, I have successfully cultivated it. In such a short time. You've already entered the door of the returning ruin chant. Lu Changming looked at you with a complex expression. His eyes full of pity. If only their Lu family had one more patriarch. With your aptitude, you could definitely be personally taught by a patriarch. By then your achievements would be limitless. Sigh. It's all because their Lu family is still too weak to not even have 10 patriarchs. Lu Changming let out a long sigh, saying Qingyun ah. Due to the cultivation difficulty of the returning ruin chant, and its special characteristics, very few people in our Lu family cultivate this method, and their strengths are not considered high. But don't worry. Later I will use the Lu family's name to recruit experts across the entire great wilderness. I will definitely find a master who can teach you. Hearing this, you hurriedly waved your hands. 17th elder, I don't need a master's teaching. I believe the best master is myself. Good Qingyun. You are a person of great wisdom. Hearing this, Lu Changming felt greatly shocked in his heart. A 6-year-old child could actually say such words. Definitely born extraordinary. However, from ancient times to the present, not a single sequence of the Lu family has relied on self-exploration. This put Lu Changming in a difficult spot for a moment. After pondering for a bit, he still nodded. Since you don't need the teaching of seniors, then I won't busy myself with it anymore. In the future, if you encounter anything you don't understand during cultivation, feel free to ask me. Many thanks, 17th Elder. You kept the token close to your body. After Lu Changming left the Lingua palace, you returned to the myriad-year black ice bed. Attendants at the side lit precious dragongri's incense to focus the mind and calm the heart, accelerating cultivation speed. Being in a top-tier cultivation environment, even the acquisition speed of energy points had accelerated quite a bit. 5 days' time flew by. In these 5 days you didn't leave the Lingua palace for half a step, always accumulating energy points. Afraid that if you went out on a whim, you would use all the energy points on your cultivation base. Although it wouldn't be wasted, but it would greatly delay the progress of acquiring energy points. Nowadays, having true god protection in the Lu family, with countless experts in the clan, where would there be a need to act yourself? Upgrading the cultivation base only looked a bit nicer, that's all. But saving up the energy points to upgrade the returning ruin chant was a major matter concerning the efficiency of energy point acquisition. You could naturally tell which was more important. Host, Lu Qingyun soulbound. Energy points, 12 billion. Add energy points fiercely. Filled with expectation, you poured all the energy points into the returning ruin chant at once. In your line of sight, the first layer of the returning ruin chant jumped upwards and became the second layer. Following that were the continuously ringing notification sounds. Energy points plus 504, plus 645, plus 485. The dinging sounds rang constantly, making you unable to bear it a bit. You could only turn off its message notification sound. This made you lose a great hobby. However, looking at the surging frequency of the energy points, you gained another hobby. Only this newly improved mood. When seeing the energy points required for the next layer of the returning ruin chant worsened again. This time it wasn't just a 100-fold increase, but a 1,000-fold. Meaning it required consuming 100 billion energy points. When seeing this number, your little heart couldn't help but skip a beat. If you had 100 billion energy points, and added it all to your realm, that would be 1 billion layers of the blood-moving secret trove. According to the Lu family's rules, all geniuses of the Lu family upon reaching 10 years old, all need to traverse 1,000,000 miles of the great wilderness, regardless of life or death. Thus only 4 years remain. If most of the time is used to accumulate energy points, and the remaining year is used to upgrade, to what extent could I upgrade? You began to ponder. Without pondering for too long, you rejected the thought of saving energy points for 3 years. With this sequence position, whether you could keep sitting in it was a question. Moreover, the acquisition rate you calculated earlier was based on your current cultivation realm. But practically, when your realm is upgraded, the acquisition speed of energy points would also upgrade accordingly. By that time, the time wouldn't need 3 years at all. After confirming your future plans, you decisively invested the energy points into your realm. Boom! Blood chi began to erupt. The number of blood-moving layers began to soar continuously. Outside the Lingua palace, Yang Mei and Zhao Chun stood shoulder to shoulder, looking at the commotion coming from inside the palace. Both of them breathed a sigh of relief. For a full 5 days, they hadn't seen their sequence have any upgrades. This was obviously an extremely abnormal thing, making them almost think that it wouldn't be long before you were kicked out of the sequence position. By that time, the treatment of them guards and attendants would also drop drastically. This was what they least wanted to see. Fortunately, their sequence finally started making a commotion today. Only this commotion seemed to be going on for a bit long. Looking at the uninterrupted blood chi fluctuations inside, Zhao Chun and Yang Mei couldn't help but swallow their saliva. After glancing at each other, a common thought formed in both their minds. Could this be the so-called accumulating thickly to burst forth brilliantly? Host, Lu Qingyun soulbound. Energy points, 126484. Realm, blood-moving realm 300,000th layer. Cultivation method, returning ruin chant second layer. A full 300,000 layers of realm added to the body. Your blood chi is now like a dragon. Monstrous blood chi permeates behind you. The palace doors open. The eyes of everyone outside the door widen upon seeing this scene. They have never seen before a person with such vigorous blood chi in the blood-moving realm. Is this the Lu family sequence? You look out at the divine mountain from afar. Your gaze is profound. Not at all like a mere 6-year-old child. Let's go. It's also time to stroll around here. You didn't live on this divine mountain in the beginning. The Lu family has numerous bloodlines. It's impossible for all bloodlines to reside within the divine mountain. Most people are still scattered throughout the great wilderness. And you were like this before. Because your parents are merely in the cave heaven realm. And do not have the qualifications to reside within the divine mountain. Even the opportunity for you to come to the divine mountain for the first baptism was because your Lu family bloodline is rich. And a great price was paid to finally obtain it. Followed by hundreds of peak nirvana realm guards. You bear a body of exceptionally vigorous blood chi. The grandness of the procession is not ordinary at all. Such a young child. How could he have such terrifying blood chi? Escorted by 100 peak nirvana realm experts. This is a treatment only sequences have. You actually don't know? This is our Lu family's 13th sequence, Lu Qingyun. It was during this first baptism that he revealed his talent and was listed in the sequence position. Look at this majestic blood chi. It has probably already reached over 10,000 layers, right? How many days has it been? 2 sequences were added at once. The 2 great sequences 13 and 14. And they are of the same age. It seems there won't be a lack of disputes in the future. With your hearing. These discussions naturally cannot escape your ears. The information about those geniuses with the 9 great top-tier physiques is blocked. It's normal that these people don't know. It's just who is this 14th sequence? You feel somewhat curious. But don't pay too much attention to it. The mountains are towering and majestic. A ray of divine light speeds over from afar. Landing not far ahead. The newcomer is a beautiful middle-aged woman. With powerful strength. Also a peak nirvana realm expert. Upon seeing you she bows and salutes. And directly states her purpose. 13th sequence, my young lady issues a challenge to you. To compete with you for the title of the 13th sequence. Please come with me. The beautiful woman uses honorifics throughout. But the undeniable tone in her words is very strong. Yet you don't even bat an eyelid. Directly ignoring her. And walking past her. Who is your young lady? You don't know her. And don't want to know her. Challenging you and still expecting you to go over? Isn't this purely having a problem with the brain? Please don't make it difficult for us. 13th sequence. The young lady is the 14th sequence. According to the Lu family's rules. You must accept this challenge. Of course, if the 13th sequence voluntarily steps down, then this competition will not need to take place. Hearing this, your footsteps stop. Looking at the beautiful woman before you with great interest. You do not pick up on the middle-aged woman's topic. But instead ask curiously. Who gave you the guts to block me in the Lu family? The next moment Zhao Chun, who is in the dark, strikes. The coercion of a true god level. Merely touching the middle-aged woman sends her flying, coughing up blood. Immediately several guards who are also peak nirvana realm step forward to suppress her. Young miss, save me. The middle-aged woman cannot believe that you actually dare to directly order the guards to attack. By doing this, aren't you afraid of forging a grudge with her young lady? No matter what, she is still the servant of a sequence. Divine light flashes in the distance. Bursts of immortal music play. A little girl resembling a fairy slowly walks over. Without a single guard following around her. Contrasting sharply with your side's large crowd. Forming a stark contrast. Lu Qingyun let her go. Lu Ling's voice is extremely ethereal. Like a murmuring clear spring. Enough to purify people's hearts. When she says this, there is a sense of natural entitlement. Very obviously compared to your average background. The background of this Lu Ling, before you, must be very extraordinary. At such a young age, she has already developed an extremely domineering personality. You show a very friendly smile to Lu Ling. And nod your head. As if expressing goodwill. Then you look at the suppressed middle-aged woman. At this time the panic on the beautiful woman's face has already disappeared. Her whole person is as calm as an ancient well. As if everything is under control. The other onlookers also feel that you will not sour relations with another sequence over this kind of matter. The corners of Lu Ling's mouth curl up slightly. Seeming very satisfied with your behavior. Kill her. Immediately, an expression of extreme panic appears on the middle-aged woman's face. She wants to cry for help again. But Zhao Chen's movements are unimaginably fast. The moment your order is given, he directly slaps the middle-aged woman into a mist of blood with one palm. You are provoking me. At this moment Lu Ling directly rushes towards you. As the possessor of the fairy spirit body, her blood qi is not powerful. Your estimation of her realm is only around the 100th layer of the blood-moving realm. Good timing. Seeing this, your eyes are filled with excitement. The blood qi on your body boils. At this moment it is like a volcano erupting. Endless blood qi shoots straight into the clouds. Just the aura alone makes Lu Ling's face turn deathly pale. I will die. I will really die if this punch lands. Previously, just looking at the blood qi naturally emitted by you, although the aura was very sufficient. But in Lu Ling's view, relying on the special aspects of her physique, she figured she could still suppress it. Since ancient times, possessors of top-tier physiques are invincible among peers of the same tier. It's impossible for it to become an exception with her. So even though she knew there was a gap in blood qi between you two, she still didn't think she would lose. Boom! Two fists collide. Your body flies backwards. Opposite you is unexpectedly a very ordinary-looking man. He guards in front of Lu Ling, and met that punch of yours. Ha ha ha, good. You stabilize your posture. Blood seeps from the corner of your mouth. Yet surprisingly, instead of getting angry, you laugh. You shove Zhao Chen aside, staring fixedly at the man who traded blows with you, without hiding the slightest hint of appreciation for the man in your voice. Speak, what is your name? As soon as these words come out, the man's eyes flicker slightly, and he immediately replies. This subordinate is the 14th sequence's guard captain Sun Cheng. True God realm. Just now I was truly eager to save my master, and accidentally injured the 13th sequence. I request the sequence to punish me. As soon as these words come out, it both reveals his identity and demonstrates his loyalty. Lu Ling, who was just protected, recovers her senses slightly. Seeing your posture like this, she actually thinks you want to snatch her person, and hurriedly steps out to say, Lu Qingyun, I have indeed lost this time, but I possess the fairy spirit body. My growth speed is beyond your imagination. Next time the title of the 13th sequence will belong to me. Sun Cheng, let's go. When Lu Ling turns around to leave, your faint voice comes from behind. Don't be in a hurry to leave just yet. The matter hasn't been resolved yet. You want to just walk away after injuring me? Lu Qingyun, you have already won. What more do you want? Lu Ling turns her head and says with somewhat gritted teeth. The next moment your blood qi erupts. You arrive in front of Lu Ling, winding up your arm. One slap instantly disperses the ethereal fairy qi on her body. The massive force directly smacks her down to the ground. Lu Ling, with a swollen face, spits out a mouthful of bloody water full of shattered teeth. Her appearance is extremely miserable. You directly step on Lu Ling's head with one foot. No matter how she struggles, she still cannot shake you the slightest bit. Then your gaze turns to Sun Cheng, your eyes still carrying a highly appreciative meaning. There is even a mixture of anticipation and excitement within. Looking at Lu Ling being stepped under your foot, Sun Cheng's heart feels exceptionally cold. At this moment he no longer thinks that your appreciation is truly an acknowledgement of him. Sun Cheng, right? I'll give you a chance. Commit suicide. You rub your hands together, looking at Sun Cheng with a face full of anticipation. Yet the words spitting out of your mouth are exceptionally shocking to the world. A weakling in the blood-moving realm actually tells a true god to commit suicide. Seeing that Sun Cheng is reluctant to make a move, not only are you not angry, but the excitement in your eyes grows even richer. Good, truly worthy of someone who has the guts to attack a sequence, daring to act and daring to take responsibility. Since that is the case according to the Lu family's rules, those who commit insubordination and deliberately scheme to murder a sequence will have their clan exterminated. As soon as these words come out, Sun Cheng's emotions become exceptionally agitated. The full power of the true god realm erupts, risking injury to forcefully break free from the restraints of Zhao Chen and the other person. Impossible. On what grounds is the Lu family so domineering? I didn't even take your life. As the sole true god within his clan, he relied on the provisions of his entire family to reach his current realm. Coming to the Lu family and willingly becoming a junior's guard was only to secure a powerful backer for his family, so they would no longer need to worry about being casually wiped out by some passing expert. But he never expected that he only wanted to gain some favor in front of his own sequence, which was why he played a little trick to cause her opponent to suffer a minor injury, so minor that with the medicinal power accumulated in the opponent's body, a few breaths would be enough to fully heal it. But he never in a million years expected that for such an almost negligible minor injury, the price would actually be his entire clan. How unfair! He wants to interrogate you. His divine power manifests into a giant hand grabbing towards you. But an invisible fluctuation comes from nowhere and strikes him. The next moment the giant hand Sun Cheng manifested dissipates. The power within his body enough to shatter mountains and sever peaks is gradually sealed. In an instant he is reduced to a mere mortal. Attacking a Lu family sequence on the Lu family's divine mountain? You never thought that this person could actually be foolish to such an extent. You can madly humiliate Lu Ling with your foot. Because that is a matter between the juniors of the Lu family. As long as no lives are lost. Any kind of roughhousing is fine. But who are you, Sun Cheng? Just an ordinary true god, that's all. Pass down the order. Sun Cheng attempted to murder the 13th sequence. The crime is heinous. Seal his cultivation, and send him into the forbidden deadlands. His affiliated clan shall be eradicated. The voice of a Lu family expert rings out in the void, echoing continuously throughout the divine mountain. Farewell, younger sister Lu Ling. After getting the result you wanted, your foot finally leaves Lu Ling's face. After this incident, the purpose of coming out for a stroll is also accomplished ahead of time. Naturally, there is no need to waste time outside. Sequence this subordinate arrived late and deserves 10,000 deaths. Another true god rushes over. With panic on his face, Lu Ling ignores him. Her gaze remains fixed in the direction you left. Battle intent rising in her eyes. Even though right now, she indeed has no ability to struggle in front of you at all. But as the possessor of the fairy spirit body, she believes her advantage hasn't been brought out yet. What is the fairy spirit body? Innately connected to the Tao. Unmatched by anyone in comprehending cultivation methods, divine abilities, and secret arts. In other words, as long as she is given some time to develop, she can reach a level that you can only gaze at but never attain. Next time I will definitely step you under my feet. Lu Ling mumbles as she speaks. Only because she is missing a mouthful of teeth. The words she says are not clear at all. Lingua Palace. A small-scale library is rapidly built. Batches after batches of precious ancient tomes are sent into the palace. If any single ancient tome here were to circulate outside, it would be in existence enough to make people fight to the death over it. Before reading, you look at the 9 Tao scriptures neatly arranged in front of you, feeling some hesitation in your heart again. Should you do this? These 9 Tao scriptures are exactly the supreme-level cultivation methods created by the 9 great patriarchs of the Lu family. Just as the fishing old man said before. As a sequence, the resources possessed will absolutely not be less than those selected as the patriarch's disciples, and might even be more. The same goes for cultivation methods. All the patriarchs' cultivation methods are personally written by themselves, possessing unique Tao rhythms, which can allow people to better comprehend the profound mysteries within. A full 9 supreme-level cultivation methods are for you to choose freely. It's even far more than that. The Lu family also has quite a few cultivation methods based on the supreme level. Only the problem right now does not lie in the number of cultivation methods. As everyone knows, a person can only cultivate one core cultivation method. But you are different. You aren't relying on yourself to cultivate, but fully relying on the system to add points. As long as the cultivation method is recorded, it can be directly upgraded. In other words, you can practice multiple cultivation methods at the same time, and enjoy multiple amplifications. In theory it works like this. Damn it, let's do it. Cultivation method. Nihility, desolate, heaven, art, uncomprehended. Looking at the already recorded cultivation method, you gently tap your little hand. Energy points are fully poured in. Cultivation method breaks through. After sensing for a bit and finding no abnormalities, you tap several times in a row. Cultivation method. Nihility, desolate, heaven, art, 5th layer. 0/5000000. The breakthrough of the newly added cultivation method not only makes your blood chi more solidified, but also adds an exclusive trait of nihility. The most crucial part is, it makes the acquisition efficiency of energy points increase once more. Although the margin is extremely small, there is more than just one cultivation method after all. The vast spiritual sea stretches endlessly. On the shore an old man and a young boy sit cross-legged here. The fishing old man opens his eyes, looks at the child beside him, and nods continuously. Obviously very satisfied. In less than a week's time, Not only did he enter the door of the nihility, desolate heaven art, he even broke through to the second layer in one fell swoop. Is this the ancient sacred body? It truly lives up to its reputation. A supreme-level cultivation method. Ordinary people cannot even enter its door in their entire lifetime. But for his disciple, breaking through to the second layer in just 1 week, the gap between them cannot be said to be small. Although he doesn't know how the other old fogies are teaching. But no matter what, Xiao Fan is definitely the most top-tier among these 9 people. The fishing old man is very confident. And at this moment, he suddenly recalls that child without any physique from before, whom he sent away, even though that was also a monster-level genius. But there are still gaps between monster-level geniuses. After being listed in the sequence, he presumably can also add an elder-level figure to the family in the future. The fishing line in the distance trembles slightly. The fishing old man immediately becomes excited, carefully tightening the fishing line, attempting to slowly pull that fish over. But ultimately it still breaks free, and escapes without a trace. This loss makes the fishing old man slap his thigh in great annoyance. A big fish slipped away from under my hands. The waterfall cascades down with incomparable turbulence, like a snow-white silk ribbon hanging among the mountain ranges. Outside a broad spiritual pool below essential chi overflows. Rare treasures, exotic grasses, and jagged bizarre rocks are scattered everywhere. Not far away under an elegant pavilion made of profound jade, the Lu family's 10th elder Lu Feichen wears a smile on his face, conversing with an external guest. Spiritual water boils and the fragrance of tea overflows. Through the curling spiritual mist, one can see a figure in fiery red-clothed skin as fair as jade. Slender fingers lightly twisting the rim of the cup. A pair of standard phoenix eyes attracts attention. Without losing makeup yet displaying ultimate enchantment. That is a beautifully poised middle-aged woman. Her whole body as ripe as an alluring red fruit, making one unable to resist wanting to take a bite. Even an aged fellow like Lu Feichen feels a bit dry in the mouth after staying with her for a long time, silently pouring himself another cup of spiritual tea to suppress the internal heat. If it were an ordinary family, he could naturally feast his eyes to his heart's content. But the problem is, the other party's background is not small. The Lin family ranked alongside the Lu family as one of the 4 great families. Elder Lin, haven't seen you in 100 years. Your appearance remains the same. I wonder what the purpose of your visit today is. Lu Feichen speaks out. At the same time he glances at the young girl behind Lin Chongyun, carved from pink jade with bright eyes and white teeth. Judging by her size, she should have just undergone baptism. Lin Chongyun speaks out, interrupting Lu Feichen's scrutiny. Lu's 10th elder. Has your Lu family noticed that this era has had some slight changes? Lu Feichen's eyes narrow. But he doesn't reply. Because he knows. Lin Chongyun wouldn't speak up without a reason. Sure enough, light flows within Lin Chongyun's pair of phoenix eyes. And she continues, saying the baptismal ceremonies of the Lu and Lin families are close in time. We just completed the baptism not long ago. This little one behind me is one of them. And is also an ultimate supreme hegemon body. Hearing, ultimate supreme hegemon body. Lu Feichen's pupils violently shrink for a moment. Even as an elder, he knows that this generation of the Lu family is extremely extraordinary, and has produced multiple top-tier physiques. But when he hears ultimate supreme hegemon body, he inevitably loses his composure somewhat. Because the ultimate supreme hegemon body among top-tier physiques also belongs to the powerful tier. Congratulations to the Lin family in this era, perhaps someone may reign supreme. What? Could it be that your Lu family has no good seedlings? Lin Chongyun asks with a smile between her brows. My Lu family is naturally not lacking either. This generation actually produced a fairy spirit body. The 14th sequence, Lu Ling. The fairy spirit body is certainly not weak. But didn't your Lu family produce other geniuses? Really? I don't believe it. Lin Chongyun no longer hides her purpose, and says straightforwardly. My Lin family produced 7 great top-tier physiques this generation. Mu'er is just one of them. Light flickers in Lu Feichen's eyes. Having lived for so long, seeing Lin Chongyun lay her cards on the table so quickly, he also guesses the Lin family's intention. Sure enough, Lin Chongyun speaks her and the Lin family's purpose. My Lin family has 7 great top-tier geniuses. Your Lu family absolutely only has more, not less. The explosion in the number of geniuses undoubtedly means a golden era is arriving. A dazzling golden era equally means massive changes. Before the previous golden era, there were a full 6 top-tier families in the Great Wilderness. Who can say for sure that after this golden era, it won't become 2 or even 1? Only by allying can we coexist. After Lin Chongyun continues to converse for a few more sentences, she leaves on her own, leaving only Lu Feichen alone, staring blankly eye to eye with the remaining ultimate supreme hegemon body. Lin Mu, right? Did your aunt tell you who you are supposed to be engaged to? Lu Feichen looks at the sincerity offered by the Lin family and asks such a sentence. It's really because he was only focusing on smelling the fragrant breeze beside Lin Chongyun just now, and didn't even realize this problem. After all, any top-tier physique is a treasure of the family, and upon grand completion has the qualifications to enter the ancestral land, to become a family patriarch suppressing the Great Wilderness. The Lin family's boldness cannot be said to be small. But who is the target of this marriage alliance? He didn't ask clearly. She seemed to have mentioned Lu Ling just now? Could it be right after Lu Feichen ponders? Who would be suitable to consume the yin-yang fruit to convert to a yang body when they get one? Lin Mu also speaks out, with only a single sentence. Among my peers, whoever can defeat me, I will belong to them. So you guys just sent him to me? Outside the Lingjue Palace, you lower your head and look at this carved from pink jade little girl as delicate as a porcelain doll before you. Then raise your head to look at the 10th elder Lu Feichen and the 17th elder Lu Changming, tilting your head to ask, He Qingyun ah. Lu Changming pulls you aside and whispers after setting up a barrier. You also know the requirement she proposed. The problem is that among the peers, those 9 are still in the ancestral land. Only you and Lu Ling are left outside. Then let Lu Ling go. Anyway, it's not like our Lu family can't get a yin-yang fruit. Her personality is quite suitable for converting to a yang body too. You say very matter-of-factly. But unexpectedly, Lu Changming says very regretfully. We already sent her. Lu Ling couldn't beat her. Suppressed by blood qi, she was slapped unconscious with one palm. She probably hasn't woken up yet. And exactly because of this, Old Ten came to me to ask you to take action. Otherwise, we can only go to the ancestral land to ask the patriarchs for people. Although we can get them. But the problem is among those 9 people. There aren't many who can defeat this Lin Mu. It's really because the supreme hegemon body is a bit overpowered. Under the condition of similar early-stage cultivation progress, those capable of suppressing her almost don't exist. Rather than exposing those few in the ancestral land, might as well you go up and take her, and will that do? So it's like that. You hesitate for a moment, then decisively shake your head, saying very seriously, Of course not. I only have the great Tao in my heart, and no desire for women. I'd rather not have this Tao companion. Hearing this, Lu Changming looks at your undeveloped small frame, opens his mouth but can actually find no reason to refute. Because at your age, you really wouldn't have desires for women in your heart, nor that ability. At this moment Lin Mu frowns and directly speaks out. No need to waste time persuading. I can feel that this person has no special physique. If I battle with him, setting aside the waste of time, his outcome might be even more miserable than that Lu Ling. Previously, even though she intended to hold back, she still misjudged her own strength and the opponent's toughness, resulting in severely injuring her. Now facing an obviously weak little boy, if she cripples him too, that would be somewhat bad. Hearing these words, Lu Feichen's expression remains unchanged. He doesn't think there's anything wrong with what Lin Mu said. If they can't make her stay, it is naturally his Lu family's incompetence, and no one else is to blame. But equally, he has absolute confidence in those geniuses in the ancestral land. At worst, it's just exposing a few people. Now that the Lu family and Lin family are allying, revealing a bit of their foundation is relatively harmless. But just as he wants to agree, he notices you walking towards Lin Mu, with a tall and straight posture like a sharp sword piercing the sky, aura surging continuously. If I remember correctly, your meaning earlier was, whoever can defeat you, you will listen to them. Naturally, Lin Mu proudly raises her head. The hegemon body is activated at full power. The blood qi in her body is no longer suppressed and rushes into the clouds. Good, you don't spout nonsense. Simply saying this one word. Then you take a step forward. Your figure flickers like a phantom closing in on Lin Mu. So fast. Lin Mu feels a shock in her heart, but does not evade. Instead, she stares closely at you with extreme excitement. Seizing an opportunity, she throws a punch like a dragon. Under the eruption of blood chi. As if shaking a mountain range. Striking so hard that the void trembles. But the result is hitting nothing but air. Average. The phantom in front dissipates. Lin Mu's shoulder is draped with one of your small hands. Gently squeezing it. Boom! She turns back with a strike as swift as lightning. But misses again. What kind of speed is this? Lin Mu finally becomes a bit flustered. In the distance, Lu Changming and Lu Feichen, who had already stepped aside, stand with their hands behind their backs. Their expressions are calm, but myriad waves are already surging in their hearts. Old 17, you are younger and have better eyes. Look at the movement technique Qin Yun just executed. Is there a bit of a trace of the immortal shattering art? Lu Feichen swallows his saliva. Nudges Lu Changming with his elbow. And says with a slightly trembling voice. The immortal shattering art is a high-level movement technique. It was his trump card back when he was still in the true God realm. Roaming unhindered across the great wilderness. Therefore he could instantly recognize its traces. And exactly because of this, he feels incredibly shocked. Not only because Lu Qinyun is so young, yet has mastered such a high-level movement technique, but even more so because from his performance just now, he saw the traces of more than just one movement technique. Lu Changming silently pops a heart-protecting pill, and says in a very normal tone, "Old 10-year-old eyes are indeed getting blurry. Qin Yun merely used an extremely ordinary movement technique. It's absolutely not a fusion of dozens of movement techniques. It must be so." For a moment both of them fall silent. Regarding this battle. From the moment Lu Qinyun agreed, they were no longer worried. Because as everyone knows, this is a monster capable of reaching the 10,000th layer of blood moving, during the baptismal stage. Later I'll go with you to seek an audience with the patriarchs. Lu Changming says after remaining silent for a while. This makes Lu Feichen glance at him. Thinking of your heaven-defying performance. He silently nods his head again. On the other side, after attacking hundreds of times, without a single hit landing, Lin Mu only feels a wave of stifling frustration in her heart. Possessing a body full of strength but completely unable to hit. The crushing disparity in speed makes it completely impossible for her to utilize her strength. No. What's the point of you constantly dodging like this? Although I can't hit you, you likewise can't do anything to me. This can only be considered a draw. You likewise haven't won. Lin Mu's little face turns flushed red with anger. Then I'll make a move. Originally you just wanted to use this actual combat to test your results from these past few days. But the result makes you feel extraordinarily bored. This ultimate supreme hegemon body of Lin Mu is no different from a wooden stake without sentience. She can be completely ignored. Naturally, such an experiment doesn't have any effect. Since that's the case, let's just end this directly. You stop. Standing 10 feet away from Lin Mu, without moving. This makes Lin Mu's eyes light up. She unhesitatingly gathers her whole body's blood chi, compressing all the anger she has built up for so long, and erupts it under this punch. Bang! Why did the sky suddenly turn dark? Lin Mu's small head is directly pressed into the ground by your grab. The massive impact force makes her instantly fall into a faint. Her entire head is planted into the ground. You raise your hand, press down twice, and it's done. Clapping your hands, you shout towards Lu Changming and Lu Feichen, who haven't moved in the distance. Done wrapping up. If you don't pull her back soon, she really won't have any breath left. Besides, didn't you say she'll listen to me completely after agreeing? Then let her pair up with Lu Ling. As for Lu Ling's side, let her resolve it herself. After saying this, ignoring whatever happens next, you turn around and return into the Lingua palace. Lu Feichen reacts and flashes to Lin Mu's side. After taking a glance, he breathes a sigh of relief. Good thing there's half a breath left. As long as she can be saved, it's fine. Afterwards, he isn't in a hurry to pull Lin Mu up either, but instead looks towards the Lingua palace. In his eyes is undisguised appreciation. Host, Lu Qinyun, soul-bound. Realm, blood-moving secret trove 3 millionth layer. Blood chi breaks through the seal. Devoured holy fruit x1. Energy points plus 100 million. Opening your eyes. A trace of astonishment flashes through your eyes. After checking the sudden notification again, you confirm that energy points have indeed increased by a full 100 million just now. You didn't even need to dissolve the medicinal power at all. Merely acquiring the holy fruit in an instant. Your eyes flicker. You remember that there is indeed a holy fruit inside your body. It was bestowed by the patriarch when you were in the ancestral land a few days ago. Back then it was said that after reaching the cave heaven, it would bring about a metamorphosis for you. But right now your distance from the cave heaven's secret realm is not just off by a tiny bit. So you had completely overlooked this thing. You didn't expect it to suddenly give you such a huge surprise. In other words, holy fruits can be directly absorbed by the system, without needing the physical body to spend time absorbing them. After thinking of this point, you immediately shout, "Yang Mei, subordinate is here. Go get me a few hundred holy medicines."
Ah? Me?
That heart of Yang Mei's ready to spill its blood and brains instantly turns cold. Pointing at her own beautiful face full of collagen, she says in disbelief, "What virtue or ability does she have to be able to get holy medicines? And even hundreds of holy medicines at that. Even selling her wouldn't be enough for it. The effects of holy medicines vary. Some can revive the dead and flesh the bones, and even resurrect a true god. Going a step further, some can defy heaven and change fate, allowing the consumer to naturally generate divine anomalies, and step into the ranks of peerless geniuses. Even more terrifying, holy medicines even develop sentience, possessing unrivaled combat power, capable of making a true god fall. No matter which kind it is. It's not something a mere underling like her, who hasn't even stepped into the true god ranks, can obtain." After hearing Yang Mei finish speaking, you also gain some concept about these holy medicines. You actually thought the Lu family had a lot of these things. After all, the patriarch casually gave one away. Now it seems there is still some difficulty in obtaining holy medicines. You purse your lips, feeling somewhat unhappy. You thought you could directly obtain hundreds of holy medicines, and then directly get tens of billions of energy points. If repeated a few times, it would be enough for the third layer of returning ruin chant. And cultivation base could also be directly measured in billions. What a beautiful thing that would be. It's just a pity that you were thinking too beautifully. As a Lu family sequence, don't I have a quota for holy medicines or something? You ask, unwilling to give up. The result you get also turns your heart cold. Although there are no holy medicines in the resources the family gives to sequences, some elders still have them in their hands. Yang Mei says in a low voice, "Elders?" Your eyes light up, but quickly sink down again. It's not strange that Lu family elders have holy medicines in their hands. After all, every elder is an existence surpassing the true god realm. Having holy medicines is not unusual. But the problem is, on what grounds would others give them to you? Based on your talent? There are plenty of people with talent. Over at the ancestral land, there are still 9 great Vajras howling to be fed. Unless you can offer solid, tangible value. You ponder for a while, and a thought surfaces in your mind. But you quickly dismiss this thought from your mind. It's unrealistic and too insecure. Furthermore, the amount of holy medicines obtained this way wouldn't be much either. It would completely be just a drop in the bucket. It's better to focus on cultivation. Nowadays it's 100 million energy points a day. And there will only be more, not less, later on. You no longer overthink it. With a wave of your large hand, the grand array of the Lingua palace is activated, beginning a period of secluded cultivation. 4 years of time pass by like flowing water. During these 4 years, you haven't stepped half a foot out of the Lingua palace. You are exhausting all your efforts to absorb all resources, continuously upgrading as much as possible. Outside the Lingua palace, Lu Chengming, dressed in elder's attire, stands with his hands behind his back, with a tall and straight posture, his gaze profound, constantly gazing at the Lingua palace enveloped by the grand array. Today is the day you come out of seclusion. It is also the day when 10-year-old members of the Lu family are exiled to the great wilderness. Guard Captain Zhao, has Qingyun never come out all these years? Lu Chengming asks Zhao Chun beside him. His expression isn't very good. During these 4 years, because of a minor bottleneck in his cultivation method, he was constantly in a state of seclusion. Now, after coming out of seclusion, he originally thought that the youth from back then had already gained great fame resonating through the great wilderness. Yet never expected that during these years, Lu Qingyun was actually in seclusion just like him. This truly is something he couldn't have imagined. At such a tiny age, going into seclusion for 4 years at once. He just doesn't understand. What is there to seclude yourself for? And exactly because Lu Qingyun hasn't made a single move all these years. So much so that within the Lu family, there are quite a lot of rumors regarding this 13th sequence. In comparison, The 14th sequence Lu Ling has shown her skills greatly during these 4 years. She even entered the great wilderness alone. And using her immortal Tao spiritual charm, forcefully suppressed a pure-blooded creature's cub to act as her mount. On that day several Lu family elders crossed the sky to confront terrifying creatures, ultimately forcing them to retreat. Which also made Lu Ling's name spread throughout the great wilderness, coupled with the fact that her Tao companion Lin Mu is an ultimate supreme hegemon body. Not the slightest bit weaker than her. It added even more to her great reputation. Replying to the 17th elder. The sequence has never come out of seclusion. Zhao Chen answered. I understand. Lu Changming waved his hand. His eyes somewhat lonely. For a 6-year-old child to not step out for half a step in so many years. What could be the reason? Most likely it's unwillingness to accept the fall of his talent. Just as Lu Changming was thinking about how to comfort you later. The grand array closed. The main doors of the Lingua palace opened. 17th elder, long time no see. You stepped out from within wearing white clothes like snow. That pair of distinct black and white eyes was incomparably profound. As if possessing some kind of magic. Capable of dragging one's soul into them. Clearly only 10 years of age. Yet the outward appearance was no different from an adult. Under the blessing of cultivation. It made his physical development faster by more than just a notch. You kid finally came out. Lu Changming was overjoyed. He actually felt an invincible aura from your body. Although it hadn't formally taken shape yet. It already had an outline. Let's go, the patriarchs have been waiting for you in the ancestral land for a long time. What's the rush? Let me take another breath first. You stretched your neck and took a fierce inhale towards the overflowing essential qi in the Lingua palace. Swallowing all that massive amount of essential qi into your body. This scene made the corners of Lu Changming's eyes twitch as he watched. This behavior made it look like the Lu family had mistreated him. Unwilling to part with even this little bit of essential qi. However, he didn't say anything. Because right now he could afford not to care. But after being sent into the great wilderness, this essential qi would be extremely precious. The Lu family members traversing the great wilderness are not allowed to carry anything on their bodies. Not to mention carrying a basket of resources to eat while walking. Even when hungry, they have to hunt and cook by themselves. Burp done. You let out a satisfied burp. After exhaling a mouthful of essential qi, you stuffed it back in. Energy points plus 364. 3 layers of realm acquired. Respectfully seeing off the sequence. Outside the Lingua palace, Zhao Chen and Yang Mei stood at the front, bowing respectfully towards you along with a crowd of guards and servants. As people under the name of the sequence, how your journey goes is equally closely related to them. Ancestral land, stepping into this domain once again. You originally thought what would meet your eyes would be that spiritual lake. And had already made plans to jump in and catch a few spiritual fish as snacks. But you never expected. The space inside the ancestral land seemed to be constantly shifting. What appeared before you was a black forest towering into the clouds. Every single black tree was incomparably thick. Big enough to require 7 or 8 people to wrap their arms around. Furthermore, the trunks of the black trees were pitch black. A gentle tap produced the sound of striking metal. As if the entire tree was cast from some kind of hard metal. Indestructible. Clang. 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 From deep within the forest sounded steady and powerful. Striking sounds rich in some special rhythm. Following the small path forward, you saw a burly youth with bronze skin. With a resolute face. His face covered in sweat. Focusing intently on throwing punches at a black tree. Every punch was wrapped in blood qi. The force was extremely terrifying. Making the black tree constantly rustle. Faint fist imprints mixed with a dark red bloody color were left on the trunk of that black tree. The black tree leaves floating down from time to time gleamed with a metallic luster under the light. With incomparably sharp edges. Like pieces of well-polished blades. Falling down, they collaterally attacked the youth, shaking the tree below. Slitting open his skin. Golden blood spilled out through his clothes. In a short while a little golden man was formed. Just as you were stroking your chin. Pondering how many resources a moving little golden man could be exchanged for. The space suddenly changed. Surfaces of water mist enveloped you. The mirrors reflected your exceedingly handsome face. Countless mirrors formed by the water mist reflected countless images of your handsome face. For a moment it made you stare blankly in admiration. You began to appreciate it without taking your eyes off. Even striking a pose from time to time. The satisfaction in your eyes was beyond words. This shameless appearance truly made the spellcaster behind the scenes unable to bear it, and immediately dispersed this illusion. "Hey, why is it gone? I haven't seen enough yet," you said somewhat regretfully. At the same time you also saw the person who just set up the illusion. What caught your eye was that pair of extremely special dual pupils, as if containing the ultimate principles of the great Tao, incomparably profound. The dual pupil possessor Lu Yi. As a dual pupil possessor, innately precocious, he had a deep impression of you, because back during the baptism, that peerless posture of leaving everyone in the dust surpassed everyone. This naturally roused his unyielding heart. So when meeting again, he made a move to test you. Only the result of this test didn't quite meet his expectations. "Oh well, I'll try again when there's a chance later." Lu Yi's gaze was profound. Standing tall in green clothes, like a green bamboo standing proudly in the world. "Everyone is here, come over." An extremely old voice rang out in the sky, spreading across all areas. And at the moment the voice sounded, a force enveloped you. In an instant you saw the spiritual lake you had been longing for. Surrounding it were young men and women with unstable auras. Among them, you saw the golden-blooded youth from before. Very obviously before being teleported over. They were all still undergoing bitter training. Also on the lakeside, the old man in the straw raincoat, who is also the sixth patriarch of the Lu family, was leisurely fishing with a rod. This tragic and fierce slaughter ended with the threatened youth breaking out from the fish beast's belly, bathing in beast blood. The majestic essential chi in the boiling hot blood was absorbed by him. A trace of bloodlust flashed in the youth's eyes, looking at the crowd on the shore. A fierce and baleful aura permeated. Battle intent soared to the sky. At the same time, all the geniuses around you spared no effort to release soaring battle intent to confront him. Only you stood there like a log, like someone with nothing to do with this. A pair of eyes darting around the lake, looking extremely stealthy. "If you want to fight, wait until you get out, and fight however you want. Right now all of you behave yourselves." The Lu family's sixth patriarch coldly snorted, forcefully suppressing these people's battle intent back down. Only when his gaze swept past you, a trace of disappointment couldn't help but rise in his eyes. To not even rouse any battle intent at such a moment. "I'm afraid this little guy who was breathtakingly brilliant before has truly faded into the masses. Perhaps during this crossing of the great wilderness, the first one to fail will be him." With the patriarch speaking naturally, no one dared to disobey. Obediently standing together with everyone, a full 11 people, were the most monstrous geniuses of the Lu family in this generation. "You are all pillars of my Lu family. Being born in the Lu family is your fortune, and also your misfortune. Because in the Lu family, although you can enjoy resources that others couldn't imagine in a lifetime, you equally have to bear unparalleled pressure. At 10 years old, if it were a child of an ordinary family, they would currently be under someone's wings, at a time of being protected. But you are different. What you are going to face is the endless great wilderness, and everything unknown. Guards, resources, magical artifacts, talismans, you will no longer possess any of it. What you can rely on is only a body tempered to its peak. No construction without destruction. Only the geniuses who can traverse the great wilderness are the true chosen children of heaven of my Lu family." The Lu family's sixth patriarch said in a deep voice. Finally, the sixth patriarch of the Lu family took a deep look at the 11 people present. He lightly raised his arm and slowly waved it, fanning up a wisp of breeze, sending these people before him to various corners of the great wilderness. Will anyone reach that step in this generation? Deep in a mountain, the roots of vigorous ancient trees were as complex and intertwined as coiled horned dragons. On a treetop thick enough to serve as a road. Your gaze was blank. It took a long time before you recovered your senses. Where did this send me? Is this still the Lu family's divine mountain? Just as your brain started to spin, your body informed you of the most correct path. Eat to acquire energy points. When in the Lu family, you could casually enjoy heavenly treasures and earthly materials, letting your body be filled with medicinal power. But now the accumulated medicinal power in your body is already nearly exhausted. If there is no extra essential energy to replenish it, the acquisition speed of energy points will greatly decrease. At the same time, what's more serious is you'll get hungry. Hiss hiss. A green snake resembling jade was flicking its forked tongue behind the emerald leaves, its cold vertical pupils watching you. At the moment it made a sound. The green snake's body suddenly enlarged. Two fleshy bumps on its head wriggled constantly, as if something sharp could grow out at any moment. A bloody maw directly enveloped you down. The giant snake that originally opened its large mouth froze in place. A touch of extreme terror rose in its pupils. Before it could make its next move, a cluster of flames spontaneously ignited, using its flesh and blood as kindling, instantly burning it into ashes. Lu Qingyun looked with a face full of disgust at a piece of roasted flesh he had casually pulled off in his hand. After taking a small bite, he directly spat it out. Patui patui. What kind of garbage is this? Casually tossing the meat aside, Lu Qingyun jumped down from this ancient tree. The moment he landed, the entire silent forest became noisy. Hiss hiss hiss. On the ground, inside the tree hollows, green snakes as emerald as jade slithered out one by one, varying in size, but exactly identical to the one Lu Qingyun just burned to death. Hundreds of thousands of green snakes covered the entire ground. It was completely impossible to tell the difference between vines and green snakes, twisting and tangling. Pairs of cold vertical pupils stared at Lu Qingyun, making one shudder with cold. Crack! Crack! Ancient trees were snapped one after another. An incomparably massive green half-blood dragon slithered towards Lu Qingyun, but stopped just as it was about to get close. After sweeping a cold glance at Lu Qingyun, it started to favor its snake concubines as if no one else was there, twining and intertwining, treating Lu Qingyun as if he didn't exist. This was the arrogance coming from a beast king of the mountain and sea secret trove. Lu Qingyun tilted his head, looking at the green snakes surrounding him from all directions. The corners of his mouth curled up slightly. The next moment a flood of blood qi washed over this entire forest, along with the living creatures within it, flushing them all into ashes. Hundreds of thousands of green snakes of varying cultivation levels, along with that beast king in the mountain and sea secret trove, didn't even have time to react, and just died out directly like this. Dropped into a beast king's territory right at the start? Is this the confidence of the supremely strong Lu family? Lu Qingyun was somewhat surprised, but not astonished. As a top-tier genius of the Lu family, if one cannot even survive under a mountain and sea secret trove beast when entering the world, then it's better to just die early. Lu Ling walked out from the ice and snow, after confirming that the bloodthirsty bear king had already left. Only then did she pat her still developing chest with lingering fear. Fortunately, I cultivated my concealment method to a profound realm, hiding my figure immediately after disengaging from battle. Otherwise, to truly shake off this beast king, I'm afraid I would need to pay no small price. After rejoicing that she safely escaped, Lu Ling couldn't help but wonder, what was the current situation of the others? Especially Lu Qingyun, that person who humiliated her twice in a row when they were young. When she saw him just now, although he looked handsome and presentable, but having no movement for 4 years, his cultivation growth must have slowed down long ago. Who knows if the patriarch deliberately reduced some difficulty for him? If he encountered a beast king upon landing just like us, I'm afraid he would have already failed by now. Whenever Lu Ling thought of Lu Qingyun's possible current encounter, a burst of delight filled her heart. Following that, she shook her head, realizing belatedly, what am I thinking about? A person who doesn't even have a physique is completely not worth me spending mental energy on. Those who can compete with me are only those 9 people inside the ancestral land. I wonder what methods they will use to evade the beast kings. Boom! A wolf beast resembling a small mountain fell from high in the sky, smashing fiercely onto the ground. This wolf king that ran rampant across the great wilderness felt fear in the face of death, emitting sounds wanting to beg for mercy. It didn't understand why such a young creature actually possessed such vigorous blood qi, as well as a fear that came from its very instincts. In its terrified gaze, a fist shadow struck like lightning, plunging its consciousness into endless darkness, skinning, extracting meat and drinking blood. The entire set of movements flowed like floating clouds and flowing water, highly visually pleasing, visibly extremely skilled. After drinking the wolf king's blood dry, the demonic and eccentric color in Lu Chen's eyes became even stronger. Several bloody wounds on his body, scabbed and healed at a speed visible to the naked eye, recovering to their original state in less than a moment. World-destroying divine light. Poisonous gas permeated the swampland. A blazing beam of light shot up into the sky, sweeping away everything. The source of this beam of light came from the chest of a youth. Lu Hao's body cracked open. The fresh blood gushing from his wounds dyed his whole body red. His condition was extremely terrible, near death. Yet the unyielding spirit and battle intent in his eyes hadn't weakened by half a bit. In front of him, a full 8 mountain and sea secret trove beast kings barely propped up their massive bodies, looking with terror in their eyes at this monster ahead. A human cub whose rings of age were so small, not only possessed a full 3 million layers of the blood-moving secret trove realm, but also harbored a supreme sovereign bone, capable of fighting a full 8 beast kings like them alone, and was almost like an unkillable cockroach, as if there was still an endless stream of strength in his body, supporting him to fight to the very end. Wasn't this just a simple gathering ritual for the nearby beast kings? How did they provoke such an existence? The 8 beast kings couldn't understand, no matter how hard they thought. Each and every one of them didn't dare to step forward to deal the final blow to this human cub. Not long after, they rejoiced that they made this decision, because that human cub stood up again. I cannot lose. The patriarch placed great hopes in me. The family protected my growth. I have a reason that I absolutely must win. Lu Hao staggered to his feet, muttering softly in his mouth. An invincible aura completely formed at this moment. The imperishable heaven art circulated at full power. Roaring Lu Hao charged up again to battle them. In the end, the 8 beast kings died tragically, and Lu Hao's body dried up, falling into the swamp, gradually sinking into the depths. Within his body, a mark emitting a bizarre light slowly formed. A long cry tore through the sky. A blue-scaled eagle with wings obscuring the sky and sun galloped in the sky, scaring some avian desolate beasts in the distance almost out of their wits, flying away in panic in the opposite direction. Because behind this long cry represented the strength of this blue-scaled eagle, a Dharma idol great demon. This is an existence that surpasses a beast king. And sitting cross-legged on the back of this blue-scaled eagle, you attempted to draw from the surrounding heaven and earth, and absorb some essential chi as much as possible. Endless essential chi in the void was drawn by it, allowing him to swallow and spit it freely, merely being enveloped by some residual essential chi. When he exhaled, the blue-scaled eagle pleasantly felt that its own cultivation was actually growing slowly. Its speed was even much faster than its own bitter cultivation. This made it, who had already completely submitted, unable to help but rejoice over the decision it made not long ago. Of course, there seemed to be no other choice for that decision. Still too slow. You exhaled a mouthful of turbid breath. The sound exploded like thunder under the amplification of essential chi. If the blue-scaled eagle wasn't a Dharma idol great demon, just that sound from just now alone would be enough to shatter its heart meridian. But even so, it also wasn't having an easy time. Forcefully holding back the coppery taste in its throat, it said, "Master, that treasure-seeking spirit mouse's dwelling is right in the canyon ahead. Not only does it store a large amount of spiritual materials, it even knows the location of a legendary holy medicine. If we can subdue it, we will definitely be able to obtain a massive amount of resources. It's just that the valley is shrouded in poisonous mist year-round, forming a natural sanctuary. Unless we can also possess the treasure-seeking spirit mouse's ability to fear no toxins. Otherwise, we still have to find another way." Hearing this, you looked out into the distance. A cold vertical pupil appeared on your forehead. A divine light shot out from within it, drawing a wisp of poisonous substance into the vertical pupil. Immediately after the vertical pupil closed, you opened your mouth and said, "No harm. Just some weak miasma poison, that's all. It's no big deal." Hearing your words, only then did the blue-scaled eagle feel relieved. It had never entered inside before. It only heard that the poisonous mist inside was extremely formidable. So much so that no one had ever successfully entered inside to take that treasure-seeking spirit mouse for their own use. Now it seems, perhaps the previous rumors were not false. It's just that no one has tested the power of the poisonous mist for too long. So much so that no one knows it has weakened up to now. Just as the blue-scaled eagle prepared to directly dive into the valley, your unfinished words rang in its ears. As long as one reaches the Dharma idol secret realm, it is enough to survive inside for 3 breaths. A sudden break. The blue-scaled eagle stopped outside the valley, asking with a somewhat trembling voice, "Then what about after 3 breaths? Then it will definitely directly turn into a pool of bloody water," you said matter-of-factly. Immediately, the blue-scaled eagle silently found a vine, tied it around its own neck, and said with a serious face, thinking for Lu Qingyun's sake, "Master, I feel the terrain inside the valley is too narrow. If I go in, it's easy to crash into the rock walls. In order to not make a big commotion, and make that treasure-seeking spirit mouse alert and flee, leaving me here might be more appropriate. You glanced at it, but didn't say anything, turning your head and walking towards the valley. You originally didn't intend to let this temporary mount go in anyway. Otherwise, finding another mount this fast later on would be somewhat difficult. The valley was deep, seeing no sunlight all year round. On the rock walls on both sides was covered a layer of weird purple fuzz. The poisonous mist was dense and exceptionally animated, as if it possessed a life of its own, swarming up the moment you stepped into the valley, to cover you. Only before it could even touch your body, it was forcefully devoured, and turned into nourishment for your body. Absorbed in malice poison gas. Energy points plus 2,565. Plus 2,657. The notifications that jumped up every once in a while could no longer cause half a ripple in your heart, because this bit of energy, compared to your current cultivation level, was completely insignificant. What you need are resources that can be called massive. Where did this cute little mouse hide? Is it this hard to find? In a hidden corner of the valley. Inside a cave blocked by a giant boulder. A treasure-seeking spirit mouse with fur as pure white as snow, and the size of a palm, was lying on top of a mountain-like pile of desolate stones, with its small eyes closed, enjoying the washing of essential chi to its heart's content. A tuft of white fur on the top of its head suddenly stood up. The treasure-seeking spirit mouse violently opened its eyes, its gaze blank. Its pupils reflected outside the valley. The blue-scaled eagle playing boredly by catching bugs. Instantly the treasure-seeking spirit mouse moved. It rolled over, found a comfortable position, and lay down. What the heck? Just a little bird in the Dharma idol secret realm. Scared me for a second. The treasure-seeking spirit mouse picked up a desolate stone, covered its belly button with it, and prepared to go to sleep. Only just as drowsiness attacked. Seemingly because its belly was exceptionally round. That desolate stone actually slid down. It frowned, stuck out its small hand and groped around next to it. Actually groping a warm, heavy object. When was this brought back? Why don't I have any impression of it at all? The treasure-seeking spirit mouse was somewhat puzzled, but didn't think much of it, and directly pulled it over its little belly to cover it. I have to say, although it's a bit heavy, it's quite warm. I'll just use this thing from now on. 1 second, 2 seconds. Bean-sized drops of sweat slid down the treasure-seeking spirit mouse's cheeks. Its exceptionally round face couldn't stop trembling. Its pair of small eyes were shut tightly, deeply afraid that opening them would reveal something it shouldn't see. At this time all its drowsiness was completely gone, because the thing used to cover its belly just now was currently ravaging its little belly. That tactile sensation was exactly identical to a human's palm. Golden mouse sheds its shell. A cloud of hallucinogenic smoke exploded. The treasure-seeking spirit mouse's body was like a slippery white snake, drilling out of the binding of the demonic claw. Its entire body turned into a streak of golden light, and directly submerged into the mountain-like pile of desolate stones. I drill. Why can't I drill down anymore? The treasure-seeking spirit mouse looked up in utter confusion, only to find that ahead was no longer a hard stone wall, nor some kind of special metal or vein, but a palm that felt incomparably familiar to it. The or vein below was forcefully hollowed out by you, just to imprison it in your palm. Blood chi power condensed to an unimaginable degree wrapped around your palm, making the treasure-seeking spirit mouse unable to break through even using all its strength. Damn it, I really failed this time. After exhausting all methods and still failing to break free, the treasure-seeking spirit mouse finally accepted its fate, smoothed out its fur, and smiled calmly after tidying up its appearance and bearing. Do it. Oh. You replied very directly, and applied a little force with your hand, just as you were about to crush it. The treasure-seeking spirit mouse's hysterical screams and pleas for mercy rang out. No bro. I was just joking. Ow. Let go quickly. If you don't let go, my poop is going to come out first. Hearing these words, you threw it aside with a face full of disgust, not afraid that it would run away again either. After all what this treasure-seeking spirit mouse was capable of, you had already figured out thoroughly. Crack. After setting its own broken bones, the treasure-seeking spirit mouse grimaced in pain, but didn't think about running away anymore either. It just looked at you with some fawning in its eyes. What? I thought you weren't afraid of death? You teased. How could I not be afraid? I'm just a stinky mouse in this dank cave. A bad life is better than a good death. Besides, wasn't I thinking of using this body full of treasure-seeking skills to serve you, my lord? One look at my lord and you're an old undying. Ah no. One look and you are a youthful heaven-chosen genius. Achieving godhood in the future is expected. And reaching the supreme is hopeful. It's exactly the time when you need a great general like me. It doesn't matter if I die. But those endless treasures scattered in this great wilderness will never see the light of day again. It's their sorrow to be unable to be used by my lord. I cannot tolerate such a thing happening. Therefore I cannot die. It coincidentally offered its own soul imprint to be controlled by you. From now on it can only be driven by you. Alright, take me to properly receive your family property. After putting away its soul imprint, you said unceremoniously. Hearing these words, the treasure-seeking spirit mouse's heart was bleeding. Alrighty. Master, come walk this way. Within this small valley, it actually had a full 13 caves for storing treasures. This current one was merely used to store desolate stones. Picking up a desolate stone, you couldn't help but have some curiosity in your eyes. You naturally know what this thing is. It's the currency used for trading in the great wilderness, with effects similar to spirit stones. The reason you felt curious was you had never seen desolate stones of such low quality. Moreover, each one was of a different shape. Weird and oddly shaped. As a Lu family sequence. Among the resources you used for cultivation, there were naturally things like desolate stones. Only the ones you used were all high-grade desolate stones. Each one neat and orderly. After being cut and organized by specialists, would they be sent to your Lingua palace? Therefore, upon seeing so many low-grade desolate stones, only then did you feel somewhat curious, thinking that desolate stones were all neat, orderly, and abundant in essential chi. Among the mountain-like pile of desolate stones, the number of high-grade desolate stones was the least. Merely only a few hundred pieces. The rest were all mid-grade or even low-grade desolate stones. In massive quantities. The most important thing was, you couldn't carry so many desolate stones. You who didn't even have half a storage ring. Cast your gaze toward the treasure-seeking spirit mouse, looking at it until it felt a wave of bafflement. What? You're killing the mouse and also destroying its heart. Pack them all up. The treasure-seeking spirit mouse froze for a moment at first. A flash of inspiration crossed its mind. It finally discovered something was wrong. This new master before it didn't seem to be an old monster. It asked tentatively, Master, your cave heaven. Is it inconvenient today? Or is it completely stuffed full? And can't fit even a little bit more? Hearing this, the corners of your mouth twitched. You always felt like this treasure-seeking spirit mouse was making dirty jokes. But you had no proof. I'm just a lackey in the blood-moving secret realm. How would I have something as high-end as a cave heaven? Hurry up and move them quickly. Ow, ow, alrighty. Faint light gradually rose. A suction force came, and directly sucked all the desolate stones inside. Seeing this scene, you couldn't help but feel somewhat envious. Although your strength is powerful now, there are some functions you simply lack. If you were given an opportunity to exchange your current cultivation for a cave heaven, whoever trades is a fool. Squeak when you're done. On to the next one directly. Squeak, squeak. The treasure-seeking spirit mouse let out extremely excited cries. Originally thinking the one who caught it was a terrible old man who liked to pretend to be young. It didn't expect this master wasn't faking youth, but was truly young. Being young is good, it likes them young. To still be in the blood-moving secret trove, without even opening a cave heaven. What kind of youthful heaven-chosen genius is this? Following him, the future prospects are massive. Wait, something doesn't seem right. How could a blood-moving secret trove play it like a mouse? The treasure-seeking spirit mouse subconsciously turned its head, wanting to ask a bit. But after meeting your pair of indifferent eyes, it quickly shrank back again, resentfully comforting itself. It's reasonable. Extremely reasonable. I am originally just a little mouse after all. Under the guidance of the treasure-seeking spirit mouse, treasure troves were plundered clean one after another. The last treasure location was a freezing cold pool. Along the way, the treasure-seeking spirit mouse acted very mysteriously. It never said what was inside this final treasure location. It wasn't until you personally stepped inside that you saw the scene inside. The next moment you turned your head, looked at the treasure-seeking spirit mouse in astonishment and said, You kid even play the human and beast game? You truly never expected that inside the treasure-seeking spirit mouse's most hidden treasure location. There were actually no treasures placed inside. What was placed were merely two jade bodies sleeping within layers of ice. Moreover, you kept feeling that her brows looked somewhat familiar, as if you had seen them somewhere before. At this moment, through the clear ice layers, you could see those two completely unclothed jade bodies, their peaks rising and falling slightly with their breathing. Very obviously, these two people were alive. Injustice. A massive injustice. I am a female mouse. Where would I get so many dirty thoughts? The treasure-seeking spirit mouse cried foul. Master. These two women are true genuine treasures. Rarer than any heavenly treasure or earthly material. And even more precious. I, the treasure-seeking spirit mouse, have sought countless treasures in my life. The only two times I hit the jackpot were these two people. Because they both possess top-tier physiques. And are peerless geniuses among you humans. This older woman with a slightly worse figure was 100 years ago. Encountered when I was still a mountain and sea beast king. I saw with my own eyes. With a single sword and a blood-moving body. She actually killed 5 mountain and sea beast kings. Fortunately, the remaining me was full of tricks, clever and witty. Relying on a little scheme, I sealed her heavily injured self. Suppressed her using the cold pool of this place. Treating her as the most top-tier collectible item. Later on, I deliberately went to check. And found that this woman is the possessor of the top-tier physique, the green lotus sword body. As for this younger one, the one with the super huge front, is the one I caught back a few days ago. For her, I wiped out a full 3 mountain and sea beast kings. Only then did I successfully snatch her, and put her into the collection room. Her physique is even more rare and powerful. It is the legendary Ultimate Supreme Hegemon body. Ultimate Supreme Hegemon body? Hearing this physique, you subconsciously moved your line of sight upwards. After sizing her up carefully for a while, you realized this was indeed an acquaintance. The one who once came to challenge you. The Lin family genius Lin Mu, who was pressed into the ground with one slap by you. You didn't expect that after not seeing each other for several years, she would actually be reduced to such a state. Was she caught a few days ago? That's reasonable enough. After entering the Lu family, one equally needs to traverse the great wilderness. But because she isn't a direct descendant of the Lu family, she naturally couldn't enter the ancestral land to be arranged together by the patriarchs. It's just that she's the possessor of a top-tier physique after all. How long has it been, and she's already been made into a collectible? You felt it was a bit funny. And upon seeing by Lin Mu's side, there was another possessor of a top-tier physique, it was even funnier. Rare top-tier physique possessors. Rare treasures of the world. Why wouldn't they count? Awaken them. You spoke out. You certainly didn't have the fetish of treating people as collectibles. Moreover, whatever you say, Lin Mu could be considered a person of the Lu family. It was just a matter of conveniently pulling her out. Hearing this, the treasure-seeking spirit mouse also moved extremely fast to take out a few azure spiritual flowers. After shattering the ice layer frozen by the cold pool with one slap, letting the two women drop down. Immediately, a cluster of flames swallowed the azure spiritual flowers. 2 wisps of pale blue smoke submerged into the noses of the 2 women respectively, awakening them. After a while, perhaps because she hadn't been trapped for long, Lin Mu was the first to wake up. Upon seeing the sneaky-looking treasure-seeking spirit mouse, and the unfamiliar youth standing in front of her, she instantly became alert, instantly getting up and striking a stance. Only when she spread her legs, and the cold air of the cold pool blew, she belatedly realized something. Lin Mu's body stiffened, silently lowering her head. She couldn't see her toes, but saw another 2 peaks. In an instant, Lin Mu's body and cheeks turned pink. Wisps of white smoke rose from the top of her head. This was the omen of blood chi erupting. Die! Ultimate Supreme Hegemon body activated. Millions of layers of blood-moving secret trove erupted in an instant. At this time, there was only one voice in Lin Mu's mind. Silence the witnesses. As long as the person and mouse in front of her are killed, no one will know. At this moment, she had completely forgotten how she was suppressed. Not to mention this unfamiliar youth. Even if it were just that damn treasure-seeking spirit mouse, it also wasn't something she could defeat. It's just a pity that in the first moment of waking up from a long sleep, coupled with extreme shame and anger, she could completely no longer care about so much. Everything relied on instinct to play out. Facing Lin Mu erupting with full power, The treasure-seeking spirit mouse smiled contemptuously. No matter how weak its combat power was, it was still a Dharma idol great demon. It has realm suppression, okay? Stepping out with one step, between raising its hand, just as it was about to suppress this unappreciative woman before it, a foot gently swept over, sweeping it aside. Ouch! The treasure-seeking spirit mouse cried out, lying on the ground looking at you with a resentful face. But you didn't pay it any mind. Looking at the rushing Lin Mu, you flexed your palm, then grabbed her head and pressed it down in one swoop. The ground burst apart. Various rubbles splashed around. This familiar feeling. The same one-move subjugation. The same posture. A flash of inspiration flickered in Lin Mu's mind. Combined with the hasty glance she took just now, she seemed to have recognized this youth before her. Lin Mu, having suffered a heavy blow to the head, was exceptionally clear-headed at this time. And also realized that she seemed to have been impulsive just now. In her memory, she was suppressed by that seemingly harmless, but actually full of bad intentions, treasure-seeking spirit mouse. And then sealed. Judging from the stance just now, that treasure-seeking spirit mouse seemed to have already taken Lu Qingyun as its master. In other words, you were the one who saved her. Lin Mu, having sorted everything out, suddenly felt somewhat too ashamed to see anyone. She silently used her hands to gather the surrounding rubble around her, blocking his head that was still buried in the pit, leaving only a plump rear sticking up high outside. This posture didn't seem very graceful. Lin Mu also knew what his current situation was like. But precisely because of this, he chose to cover his face. You can't see me, you can't see me. Good opportunity. You walked around behind Lin Mu, nervously rubbed your hands. Smack, 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 that feels better. You really couldn't hold back. Viciously venting a few times. Get up. Lin Mu stood up feeling extremely awkward, looking somewhat disheveled and covered in dirt. He gasped. An exquisite silk dress was thrown over, entwined with some aura of death. Who knows which tomb the treasure-hunting spirit mouse dug it out of? Thank you. Lin Mu's little face was still flushed red, whispering his thanks. And right then a cold and clear voice sounded. Could you also give me a piece of clothing? Without knowing when, that stunningly beautiful woman who had slept for hundreds of years had also awakened. She wasn't as agitated as Lin Mu. She even stood there openly and naturally, as if the exposed body wasn't hers, though there really wasn't much to look at. After taking a casual glance, you waved your hand, and had the treasure-hunting spirit mouse throw a piece of clothing over. Seeing this, Lin Qingshue's expression stiffened. She lowered her head and glanced at her toes. Silently put on the silk dress. Lin Qingxue of the Lin family. Many thanks to your excellency for saving my life. After dressing neatly, Lin Qingxue bowed to you with extreme solemnity. If it weren't for you, she would probably have to stay in this pitch-black sunless freezing pool until her lifespan was completely depleted. This bow was entirely justified. It's nothing, just a small effort. But for a life-saving grace, shouldn't you show some token of appreciation? You rubbed your index finger and thumb together and asked. Although the Lin family wasn't one of the 4 top-tier families in the Great Wasteland, it was still quite well known. It could be considered a relatively large family. With true gods as numerous as clouds within the clan, their strength was immense. More importantly, the Lin family was a famous alchemy clan. As everyone knows, the profession of an alchemist means being wealthy in any world. You naturally knew this too. So after hearing that Lin Qingxue was from the Lin family, your eyes instantly lit up. You had originally planned that after rescuing her, you would use her to exchange for resources with the family behind her. A prodigy with a top-tier physique highly likely comes from a major family. If you were truly unlucky and encountered a prodigy among rogue cultivators, then sorry. I'll plant a slavery seal on you to serve for 1,000 years before talking about anything else. It's just that your fingers were almost rubbing out sparks. But you still didn't get any response from Lin Qingxue. Is it that she doesn't want to give anything? Suddenly your gaze turned cold. But what appeared in your eyes? Was Lin Qingxue looking completely at a loss? Looking somewhat bashful and fidgety. 2 blushes of red cloud floated up on her cold, stunning face. Her gaze was somewhat evasive, not daring to make eye contact with you. This look didn't seem like she didn't want to pay up. It rather looked like she was lovesick. You were puzzled. In reality, Lin Qingxue was also completely panicked. He actually wants this kind of repayment? What should I do? Should I submit to him? If I don't submit, it seems I can't resist anyway. Moreover, I was saved by him. If I submit, it doesn't seem like a loss either. A fierce battle between heaven and man was raging in Lin Qingshue's mind. She couldn't understand the correct meaning of your gesture. Only combining it with some speculations. Comparing those two fingers to the two of you. Entangling together and constantly rubbing. Smack! A large lump appeared on Lin Qingshue's forehead. She covered her forehead with both hands and gasped. What are you thinking about? A dignified alchemy family. Can't even bear to part with a few bottles of saint-grade pills, right? You unceremoniously interrupted Lin Qingshue's wild thoughts. If you keep thinking like that, not only might the pills be gone, even your own virgin boy body won't be saved. Hearing these words, Lin Qingxue, realizing she had misunderstood the meaning, breathed a sigh of relief, gradually restoring her previous cold and clear posture. It was just that she inexplicably felt a bit disappointed in her heart. Smack with one slap down. The sense of disappointment dissipated. Under your unkind gaze, Lin Qingxue hastily shook off those inappropriate thoughts in her mind, pinched a hand seal, and contacted her family through a special method. Just like Lu Qingyun, Lin Qingxue had also come out for a trial, and actively contacting the family meant actively giving up on the trial, which counted as a failure. But even if she didn't contact them actively, being trapped for 100 years definitely meant failure anyway. Without a doubt, the level of importance she receives after returning will definitely drop significantly. Who knows if she can still get those high-level pills? You stroked your chin and pondered, as if seeing through your doubts. Lin Qingxue said softly, when I return to the family, after explaining everything clearly, I will ask my father for resources. No need to worry about me. My father is the head of the Lin family. Even if my trial fails, I am still untouchable by anyone. You nodded, and didn't say much more. As long as you don't fall short on the pills, that's fine. Without waiting for the Lin family to arrive, you took the treasure-hunting spirit mouse, and left the valley with Lin Mu following behind. After all, your trial was not yet complete. Although crossing the Great Wasteland was just a facade. It wasn't literally crossing the Great Wasteland. Otherwise, the Great Wasteland is infinitely large. If there were no limits, even true god existences, exhausting their lifespans, would be unable to cross it. This so-called crossing the Great Wasteland was merely a trial going out without the family's protection. An 8-year trial. Returning to the clan upon coming of age. During this journey, nothing from the family was allowed to be used. Whether it be power or fame. Once discovered, it would be directly judged as a failure. Although one would still be accepted by the family, resources would be sharply reduced and the future would be bleak. This was also why you didn't stay with Lin Qingxue, to wait for the people of the Lin family to arrive. Another point was, who knows what the hell the internal situation of the Lin family is like. 100 years have passed. Things might have already changed drastically. At that time, it would just invite a ton of trouble for nothing. You really didn't want to get involved in some plot of being mocked and targeted, then killing someone in a fit of rage, exposing your identity as a Lu family sequence member after being hunted down, to fiercely show off once. It sounded pretty good though. You felt a bit tempted. It was just a pity that a terrifying spatial fluctuation came from within the valley, and dissipated into nothingness an instant later. It seemed the person had already been taken away. After taking a glance back, you once again looked at Lin Mu, who had been following behind you. You couldn't help but frown, and opened your mouth to say, why haven't you left yet? What are you doing following me? Suppressed by your imposing aura, the scene of his head being pressed into the dirt couldn't help but surface in Lin Mu's mind. He immediately shrank his neck, like a quail, without the slightest appearance of a supreme hegemon body. Get out, get out. Go find your Lu Ling. You waved your hand as if shooing a fly. You really didn't want a troublemaker following you around. Let alone the fact that Lin Mu wasn't a proper member of the Lu family. Even if his surname really was Lu, it would be of absolutely no use. Lin Mu bit his lip. He naturally could tell that you were impatient with him. He had felt this kind of emotion 4 years ago. And it was exactly since that time. He had never been able to forget it. After giving you a glance with a complex expression, Lin Mu silently turned and walked away. After successfully connecting signals with Lu Ling and meeting up, Sister Mu. Lu Ling happily hugged Lin Mu, sharing with him how she cleverly avoided the pursuit of the mountain and sea beast king. At the same time, she also started talking about you. It's a pity you weren't there and didn't see it. Lu Qingyun has made slow progress over the past 4 years. Even when Lu Chun released his battle intent, he didn't dare to release his battle intent to counter it. He has long ceased to be someone on the same level as us. Next time we meet we can bully him viciously. Directly stuff a foot into his mouth. Humph, that'll teach him for stealing my 13th sequence position. Lu Ling was extremely excited when talking about this, completely oblivious to the increasingly crimson eyes of Lin Mu beside her. Not hearing Lin Mu's response, Lu Ling felt a bit strange. Just as she turned her head, red lips lunged forward and pressed against hers. A stormy and tempestuous kiss completely enveloped her. Powerless to resist. In a daze Lu Ling seemed to hear a name. Lu Qingyun. Normal. It's just, why is the feeling so intense this time? High up in the sky, the cold wind whistled past the ears. You stood tall on the back of the blue-scaled eagle. A glowing treasure-hunting spirit mouse stood on your shoulder. At this moment the treasure-hunting spirit mouse's eyes were tightly shut. Its fur emitted a golden luster, as if it were cast from solid gold. A tiny finger pointed forward, changing directions from time to time. The blue-scaled eagle underneath flew in the direction it pointed. This was the talent of the treasure-hunting spirit mouse, able to sense scarce or precious treasures. In just 3 short days, you used this to harvest 373 century-old weeds, 73 wild fruits, plus an almost rotting animal corpse. If you lead me to find those useless things again, watch out, I'll squeeze you until you explode. Your movements were extremely gentle, placing your hand on the treasure-hunting spirit mouse's head, stroking its fur, and casually helping massage its temples. Just using a tiny bit of force. Just about enough to press its brains out, that's all. The words, full of threat, made the treasure-hunting spirit mouse sweat profusely. To be honest, it didn't want this either. But who asked its talent to be so abstract? There were absolutely no standards at all. Does a wild fruit with some spiritual energy count as a treasure? For you, naturally it doesn't. Even at the very beginning of your cultivation, the fruits you casually munched on were millennial pearl fruits. But for beasts that haven't even opened their intelligence, that is a treasure. Precisely because of this strange characteristic, it was why it had suppressed and collected 2 human prodigies back then. So how could treasure hunting yield such immediate results? Besides, a fortune accumulated over hundreds of years was completely consumed in just 3 short days. Even if it worked itself to death, there was no way around it. Master, I can guarantee, this time it is absolutely a good thing. Because I've been there before. Calculating the time. That 2-mark Saint medicine is about to mature. It's just that it is guarded by extremely powerful wasteland beasts. If we want to get it, there might be great danger. The treasure-hunting spirit mouse reminded. Over the course of hundreds of years, it had naturally scouted out high-level items like Saint medicines. Only beside every stalk of Saint medicine, there was at least a Nirvana realm wasteland beast guarding it. Bringing you here now was only to let you know that its usefulness was actually very great. As for seizing the Saint medicine, it had never considered it. How could that be something they were qualified to possess? It's fine, you just lead the way. You didn't take the wasteland beasts it spoke of to heart. You even somewhat hoped that those wasteland beasts would be powerful enough to let you truly unleash your combat power. To see exactly what level of combat strength you matched up to now. Energy points plus 26,548. The notification sounds constantly rang in your ears. Your eyes lit up slightly. But in your mind you were pondering an important matter. The current you could be said to be entirely a rogue cultivator. Aside from a body of cultivation, and various powerful divine abilities and cultivation methods, you had nothing else. Therefore you had to consider how to guarantee the acquisition of energy points in the future. This was your confidence for survival in this world. There must be no mistakes. Like the current situation. Relying on a treasure-hunting spirit mouse to find resources in the Great Wasteland was truly a poor strategy. And the best strategy would be to terminate the trial and continue obtaining the Lu family's resources. But if you didn't want the resources to be cut down, then you needed a reason that compelled you to return to the family, and one that wouldn't cause anyone to raise objections. You looked down over the Great Wasteland, remembered Lin Mu and Lin Qingxue you met earlier, and found that within this Great Wasteland, it seemed there were quite a few young prodigies dispatched out for trials like them. Which made sense. The Great Wasteland was incomparably cruel. After thinking of this you smiled. You seemed to know what to do. The clouds and mist parted. A waterfall cascaded down straight like the water of the heavenly river. suspended high in the sky, splashing water droplets, rippling with a radiant golden water mist under the sunlight. Beneath the waterfall within a massive lake spiritual energy swirled. Exotic flowers bloomed, their fragrance assailing the nose. A poison dragon. The heavenly eye on your forehead opened on its own, piercing through the heavy fog. It met a pair of scarlet eyes. Hell, little mouse. Since you still dare to come, then stay here forever to accompany this old man. An aged voice resounded between heaven and earth. As that poison dragon turned its body, the entire lake's water began to surge. In an instant the poison dragon broke out of the water. At this moment in the old poison dragon's eyes, the figures of you and the blue-scaled eagle didn't even exist. To him you were merely existences to be casually obliterated later. His disregard didn't make you angry, because in your past life you actually quite liked poison dragons. Master, how about we just run away first? This old thing has no shame. He's still reinforcing the restriction seals right now. If we wait any longer we might not be able to escape. The treasure-hunting spirit mouse gripped your collar in fear and whispered. The blue-scaled eagle underneath deeply agreed. Although it was a Dharma idol great demon, the old poison dragon opposite them was in existence at the Nirvana realm. Judging by its imposing might, it was even at the peak. The fact that it could brace itself to fly here was already considered having a strong psychological fortitude. Such a ferocious wasteland beast was definitely the overlord of the surrounding millions of miles of the great wasteland. Unless a true god descended, who could subdue it on its home turf? What are you panicking for? You spoke calmly. This boosted the confidence of the treasure-hunting spirit mouse and the blue-scaled eagle, making them remember that this young master before them had never revealed his full strength. Could it be, although it would be world-shocking? What if, using blood-moving secret realm cultivation to contend against a peak nirvana, the top-tier existence beneath a true god? Thinking of this, they felt a surge of boiling blood. However, in reality, your confidence came from having no worries about your own life. You didn't sense a lethal aura from this poison dragon in front of you. Although this didn't prove much, but the massive amount of life-saving divine abilities you had added points to over the years ensured that if you couldn't win you could still safely escape. As for the treasure-hunting spirit mouse and the blue-scaled eagle, at that time they could only heroically sacrifice themselves. So you didn't know what they were getting so hyped about. Could it be they were as confident in surviving as you were? Ignoring the excitement of the two beasts, you took a step forward. Let me test it out. Can my fist, backed by a mere 300 million layers of blood-moving secret realm cultivation, injure a peak nirvana poison dragon like you? You took a deep breath. Voice steady and powerful, shouting loudly. In front of you, the old poison dragon's expression of certain victory froze. Wait a minute. What the heck did you say? 300 million layers? For 4 years the energy points obtained daily were counted by the 100 millions. And these energy points, at the moment they were obtained, were added by you onto your cultivation or techniques. Arts, illusion arts, movement techniques, divine abilities. The high-grade cultivation methods stored in the Lu family were all mastered and integrated thoroughly by you. The heavenly eye you used earlier was the condensed result of leveling up hundreds of arts to profound realms, with endless marvelous uses, and possessing infinite potential. The greatest change naturally lay in the advancement of cultivation. Your current realm was the blood-moving secret realm at 370 million layers. Every time you broke through a magnitude, your strength skyrocketed significantly. After breaking through the 100 million mark, you even birthed special innate divine abilities. It was just that over these years, you hadn't fought with anyone. Regarding your own strength, you didn't have a precise understanding. You only knew that whether it was a mountain and sea beast king, or a Dharma idol great demon, to you they were all far too weak. So could this peak nirvana poison dragon in front of you let you clearly understand exactly what level you had reached now? Endlessly vast blood chi surged into the sky, connecting heaven and earth, piercing through the cloud layers. A majestic figure formed purely of blood chi stood behind you like a god. Its gaze seemed able to see through everything, suppressing all living beings with absolute coercion. What the hell is this? The old poison dragon's eyes widened like brass bells. Impossible. Even if it really is 300 million layers of the blood-moving secret realm, so what? There is a gap of fully 4 major realms between you and me. The gap in realms was like a heavenly chasm, even for true peerless prodigies, even when intentionally plotting against the unprepared. Those capable of killing enemies across realms were exceedingly rare. Let alone crossing fully 4 major realms. Just empty posturing. The old poison dragon said sternly. Although he didn't clearly know what kind of concept a blood-moving secret realm measured in hundreds of millions was. In his thousands of years of dragon life, the most prodigious figure he had ever seen was merely an heir of the true dragon race, reaching 1,000,000 layers in the blood-moving secret realm. But 300 million against 1,000,000 is only 300 times, and the gap between nirvana and blood-moving is far more than 300 times. 30,000 times wouldn't be an exaggeration at all. 300 versus 30,000, the advantage is mine. The old poison dragon comforted himself this way in his heart. But what responded to him was simply your full-strength strike. Facing such a strong enemy of unknown depth, you dared not hold back. From the very beginning, you had started accumulating power. Nihility heaven swallowing art open. Good fortune heaven seizing method activate. Mantra chaos reversal incantation open. Layer upon layer of buffs were applied. The blood chi phantom behind you became increasingly solid. A layer of 7-colored luster covered it, making it look somewhat mismatched and bizarre. That was the effect of hundreds of cultivation methods and divine abilities stacked together. Although it wasn't overly aesthetically pleasing, the boosting effect was genuine and solid. Every layer of enhancement made your aura surge immensely. Until finally, you maintained the strongest state of your stage 1. Aura as deep as an abyss, silence in your eyes. Behind you the treasure-hunting spirit mouse and the blue-scaled eagle were so excited they were nearly suffocating, even though not a single shred of aura was aimed at them. Just standing behind you made them almost unable to catch their breath. Even so, they didn't care in the slightest. Their gazes were fanatical. And opposite you, the old poison dragon could no longer convince himself at this moment. What 30,000 versus 300, it was all bullshit. Looking at this posture, he only felt like he was facing a true god. No, even the true dragon at the true god realm he had once glimpsed in the dragon nest had not given him such a sense of oppression. Thus he decisively parted the lake water, drawing out all the poisonous gas accumulated over countless years. If he were to die, all the poisonous gas would spiral out of control and diffuse. By then, even if a true god descended, it would still be a scene of absolute devastation for all living things. I think we can talk. Talk my ass. A punch smashed down. Like a falling meteorite. Unable to hold on for even a fraction of a second, the old poison dragon perished under this strike. Until the moment before his death, the old poison dragon still couldn't understand why the blood-moving secret realm could erupt with such tremendous power. No, he should be saying, how did the blood-moving secret realm reach 300 million layers? Shouldn't the absolute limit be 5 million layers? Even the legendary grand families, the peerless prodigies in the true dragon nests, the highest was only a few million layers. They couldn't even reach 5 million layers. What on earth was going on with this monster in front of him? Also killing me without the slightest hesitation. Doesn't he care at all about the poison gas going out of control? Exterminating all life across 100,000 miles of the Great Wasteland? The answer was very certainly, yes. What did 100,000 miles of the Great Wasteland have to do with Lu Qingyun? Keep in mind that a few years ago, with a single word he slaughtered a true god family of tens of millions of people. Can one strike actually insta-kill a peak nirvana? It didn't feel like there was any resistance. Looking at it this way, my combat power has already reached the true god level. You were still very satisfied with this result, because that was just your stage 1 combat power. You generally divided your combat power into 3 tiers. Tier 1 was like just now with technique buffs and blood chi fully unleashed. Tier 2 built upon the foundation of Tier 1, paired with the heavenly eye divine ability and short duration burst secret methods. As for Tier 3, that was the desperate blood-burning talent burst used for risking your life, doubling your realm once again on top of the previous foundations. At Tier 2, you would be considered quite powerful even among true gods. Originally, you were somewhat uncertain about your previous plan. But now that your combat power had been verified, you could begin to proceed. But for now, let's harvest the spoils of war first. You withdrew your coercion, ignored the surging corrosive poison gas, and descended to the center of the lake. That green lotus resembling green jade was desperately releasing essence chi to resist the contamination of the poisonous gas. Saint Medicine's possessed spirits, after sensing your arrival, it hastily swayed its stalks pleading with you for help. You reached your hand out toward its lotus pod, but was blocked outside by a ray of green light. This made your brow twitch, feeling somewhat surprised. At the same time, the green lotus transmitted a thought. The general gist was that the saint medicine wasn't fully mature yet, and could not be picked. It asked you to transplant it out, to take root in a place full of spiritual energy. And once the saint medicine matured, it could divide 5 of its dozen or so lotus seeds and give them to you. And it specially emphasized that previously, the old poison dragon could only take 3 seeds. The extra 2 were in gratitude for the transplanting. Regarding this request from the green lotus saint medicine, you nodded. You could still understand it. After all, saint medicines can actually be seen as living beings. If all of its cultivation essence was taken away, the damage to it would be exceptionally massive. The time required for the next maturation of the saint medicine would undoubtedly also be much longer. So this plan was extremely reasonable. In the next moment, blood chi surged in your hand. With a crack, you directly pierced through the barrier. Grabbed that lotus pod on the body of the green lotus saint medicine in one motion, and forcibly tore it off. It's reasonable, yes. But you don't care to be reasonable. How could you possibly, for the sake of some long-term development, discard so much saint medicine placed right in front of you? Not to mention waiting for the next time the saint medicine matures. In a dozen years or so. If you would still care about a saint medicine of this grade, then you would be considered quite a piece of trash. In just 4 short years, you were already rivaling true gods. Give it another dozen years. It's not even certain who will have the final say in this great wasteland. Such a brutal action made the green lotus saint medicine feel a pain worse than death. The lotus pod was where its essence lay. In the past, when the old poison dragon took the saint medicine, it was always the lotus slowly detaching it for him. When had it ever experienced this kind of agony? Your actions were no different from directly ripping its heart out. Anger, extreme anger. The green lotus saint medicine made a decision. Even if you returned the lotus pod intact, and transplanted it into an environment vastly superior to this place, the next time, no. It wouldn't hand over even half a lotus seed for the next 3 maturations. This was the price you rightly had to pay. However, its fury did not receive any pacification. Because after you got the lotus pod, you stripped the lotus seeds out in just a few quick motions, casually tossing the rest aside. After shoving the lotus seeds into your spatial ring, you turned around and left. The green lotus saint medicine was dumbfounded. Green sap was still oozing from its root stalk, but it could no longer care about that much, because the surrounding poison gas had already seeped through that shattered protective shield, clung to its body, corrupting and devouring it. Pitch black slowly spread upward. In its final struggle, the green lotus saint medicine occasionally lit up with faint green light, as if begging for a response. If you were still present, you would be able to hear it constantly crying out, "Come back! Come back!" Consuming an immature 2-mark saint medicine. Energy plus 700 million. Energy plus 800 million. Energy plus 680 million. A total of 12 notification sounds. Brought you nearly 10 billion energy points. Added to the energy points obtained over the previous few days. You added it all to your cultivation, pushing the blood-moving secret realm layer count past 500 million. According to past experience, upon reaching 1 billion, there will be a metamorphosis. Strength will inevitably leap up an entire level. Just a few more energy points. If I push the base layers up past 500 million, coupled with the blood-burning talent, my upper limit will be raised to another level. After you inhaled all the dissipating essence chi around into your body, you opened your eyes. Eyes deep and tranquil. I have to say, the green lotus saint medicine really did have some capital to be arrogant. The grade of saint medicines is divided into 3 marks. The higher the number of marks, the more precious it is. The saint medicine you initially obtained from the patriarch's hands was merely a 1-mark saint medicine, and its efficacy was just cleansing the marrow to lay a foundation. The energy it contained was quite small, whereas an average 2-mark saint medicine, according to your estimation, could provide around 1 billion energy points. Only a 3-mark saint medicine is sufficient to provide 10 billion energy points. Yet every single lotus seed of the green lotus saint medicine was equivalent to a 2-mark saint medicine. Added together, it was no worse than a 3-mark. Of course, this was only the case for you, because you don't care about whatever effects it has. You only care about the total energy it can provide. It's not like that for other people. The value of a 3-mark saint medicine is enough to rival nearly 100 2-mark Saint medicines. So you had also considered being a second-hand dealer. It's just that because the level you're at right now is too low, you could only temporarily shelve the plan. Sweeping past 10,000 meters high in the sky. When passing over a tall mountain, your eyes flickered. You immediately said nothing, and directly leaped down. On the mountain peak, a youth with dragon horns growing on his head, looking arrogant, followed by a group of dragonkin retainers, was currently surrounding a sword-wielding girl. Submit to me. I can leave you a position as a dragon consort, if you stubbornly refuse to realize your error. I can only plant a heart-devouring curse on you, making you a follower for me to toy with in my spare time. Ao Qinghe slightly raised his hand, his tone full of threat. His pair of dark golden dragon eyes continually scanned over the girl's delicate body. The lustful and wicked intent in his eyes was unmistakably exposed. The great wasteland is still the best. He had only been out for less than half a month, and had already taken 37 dragon consorts alone. The number of temporarily favored wasteland beasts was innumerable. As long as they caught his eye, regardless of race, they could all be favored. Now running into such a beautiful human prodigy. This was an existence he simply couldn't see within the dragon dynasty. The only time he had seen a human prodigy girl was still a few years ago, watching from afar as a distant cousin of his was beaten half to death by a human female prodigy, emanating immortal light all over. Beaten half to death. Later he was even forcibly taken away. A few elders went to demand an explanation, but returned without success. He heard it was because the other party came from that terrifying family, the Lu family. Are you done talking? The girl spoke lightly. Her voice was melodious and pleasant to hear. Yet it revealed a sense of coldness and destructive intent. Of course not. Ao Qinghe's eyes lit up, seeing this kind of attitude from the girl. Not only was he not angry, he actually became even more interested. Being so secure in the knowledge that one has backing. Is she having absolute confidence in her own strength? What a coincidence, me too. As a pure-blooded golden dragon. An existence standing at the pinnacle of bloodlines. A tyrannical dragon might erupt it out. That suppression stemming from the level of life made the group of dragonkin keep quiet out of fear. Yet their eyes successively showed fanaticism and submission. However, the girl remained nonchalant, unaffected in the slightest. Just like a passerby, simply watching calmly, until Ao Qinghe really couldn't hold back anymore. His arm suddenly dragonized, reaching towards the girl, wanting to forcibly grab her. Right at this moment, a faint wisp of destructive sword intent lingered around the girl. In an instant, sword light moved like shadows. A dragon arm flew out. Golden dragon blood sprinkled in the air, shining brilliantly. The girl still maintained her original posture, having not moved a muscle. Her eyes were like a pool of deep secluded water, quiet and rippleless. It was just that Ao Qinghe in front of her had one arm already disappeared completely. His sleeve hung completely empty. Fast, absurdly fast. So fast that no one present had seen it clearly. In just a split second, the victor had been decided. Ao Qinghe finally began to scream miserably. A pair of dragon eyes full of killing intent, waving his remaining arm, ordering these dragonkin of his to attack together. It's just that he had barely waved it once. And then he stopped. His body seemed to stiffen, staying fixed in place. A fine dense blood slit appeared on his neck. Ao Qinghe's head rolled down, eyes wide open, as if in the moment before death he had seen something extremely terrifying. The wind rose, sword intent crisscrossed. In a flash, all the dragonkin were torn to pieces. The girl's face still held virtually no expression, even as a trace of dragon blood streaked across her pale white cheek. Seeing that she had resolved the people blocking the way, the girl turned around and walked a few steps, then stopped again. Looking back, it seemed there was still one person left unresolved. But what was this person doing? Under the girl's puzzled gaze, you who had appeared out of nowhere were happily putting away both Ao Qinghe's head and body, which had reverted to their true form. After finishing all this, you turned around to meet the girl's gaze. After a long while, you opened your mouth and asked somewhat doubtfully, "Do you still want these things?" "Yes," the girl replied without hesitation. Although in reality, she didn't want them at all. She was even prepared to just leave a moment ago. But this man who suddenly appeared before her was actually directly picking up her spoils of war. without even asking a single question beforehand. So how could she not want them? She definitely had to claim them. After speaking, the girl quietly waited for you to return her spoils. Only what she waited for was first come first served. Not giving it. The destructive sword intent that had just vanished reappeared instantly at this moment. On the ground less than an inch from the tip of your toes. Slashing open a deep trench nearly 100 meters long. The threatening intent was undisguised. You lowered your head and took a glance. Stroked your chin and thought for a moment. Then with eyes full of shock you said, "To think it's the legendary short-lived ghost destructive sword body. Because the body is constantly eroded by destructive sword intent at all times. So much so that most possessors die early. Therefore it got the title of short-lived ghost." Hearing you unceremoniously tear open her scars, the girl's gaze turned piercing cold. The destructive sword intent surging from her body increased even more. And what responded to her was a treasure-hunting spirit mouse flung right into her face. In a daze she seemed to hear a voice. "I choose you, treasure-hunting spirit mouse." The next moment she watched helplessly as that seemingly harmless treasure-hunting spirit mouse swung a tiny fist, smashing a punch onto her forehead, sent flying hundreds of meters and crashing heavily onto the ground, fainting on the spot. When dealing with prodigies who hadn't yet fully grown, the treasure-hunting spirit mouse could be said to have perfected it through practice. So skilled that it almost made a move to strip the clothes off the girl in front of it and collect them as a trophy. Dharma idol versus blood-moving. Pure numerical crushing. "Master, should we take this little lady away?" The treasure-hunting spirit mouse suspended in the air, carrying the girl whose body size was far larger than its own. Inexplicably felt a bit out of place. Not taking her. Why bring this thing along? The prodigies of various family forces are all placed under restriction seals. They cannot be enslaved. Rather than feeding another mouth, it's better to just throw her here to fend for herself. Killing her now brings no benefits either. The treasure-hunting spirit mouse obediently tossed her away. The girl's forehead smashed heavily against a rock. And she slept even more soundly. Let's go to the next Saint Medicine location. The blue-scaled eagle took flight once again, soaring through the sky. Saint Medicines are inherently incredibly rare, and their possessors will do everything possible to conceal them, not revealing their divine anomalies, to avoid being robbed. Therefore, even for the treasure-hunting spirit mouse, the places it knew for sure had Saint Medicines were only 4 in total. After quickly clearing out the other 2 locations, killing several peak Nirvana realm wasteland beasts, and consuming 2 more immature Saint Medicines, you successfully stepped into the realm of 500 million layers of the blood-moving secret realm. But just as you were about to head to the final Saint Medicine location, your figure suddenly paused for a moment. Your eyes shifted slightly, gazing not far away, with a solemn expression. A moment later, a black mastiff carrying a mountain range on its back tore through space. Those massive and thick forelegs stood upon the great wasteland like giant pillars reaching the sky. At the peak of the mountain range it carried a middle-aged man dressed in black had cold eyes. His sleeves fluttered loudly in the wind. True gods. 2 genuine deities. Existences capable of building a kingdom in the great wasteland, and ruling over billions of living beings. Your pupils constricted slightly. This was your first time outside of the family seeing true god experts. It just seemed that they came with ill intentions. Lu family's 13th sequence, Lu Qingyun. The middle-aged man spoke. Not confirming, but stating a fact. At 10 years old, killing peak Nirvana realm experts like slaughtering dogs with a blood-moving body. Flipping through the ancient history of the Great Wasteland, there has never been such a world-shocking event. He was rejoicing. Originally he just used his status as the team leader to assign himself the easiest target to deal with. If he had fled far back to the Lu family, they would have absolutely no chance at all. Coming to kill me. Do your family's higher-ups know? You spoke calmly. The middle-aged man didn't understand your meaning. Since he came out here, it was definitely the result of the family's discussion. Thinking of his own family, a sense of pride couldn't help but surge in the middle-aged man's heart. Because his family, in just a mere 1,000 years, went from an insignificant small family to growing into an extremely powerful family, even strong enough to arm wrestle with the alchemy Lin family. And this generation was even more incredible. A peerless prodigy with a top-tier physique had appeared in the family. What was this? The will of heaven. In this generation it was time for his Cheng family to take a step further. Making a prompt decision. The clan made a resolution. At all costs. To clear all obstacles from the path of that prodigy. Being able to fight their way out from countless small clans. Their ruthlessness was naturally beyond doubt. Therefore, in order for their own prodigy to shine brilliantly in this era, and grow to the pinnacle, bringing supreme glory to the family, the entire Cheng family used the strength of the whole clan, seizing the opportunity of the trials of these top-tier family disciples in the Great Wasteland, wanting to slaughter them all, because they knew that those powerful family heirs, when coming out for trials, were truly and purely left to fend for themselves. They didn't even have Dao protectors. The unwritten rule of not bullying the young as the old was pure bullshit. If you want the family to prosper, you must resort to all means necessary. In their eyes, those powerful families had long since, amidst the glory of endless years, lost their drive to advance. Otherwise, how could it be that for so many years, not a single family had thought of this method? Of course, there was another possibility. That is, those families were already rotting, unable to find people like him, willing to sacrifice their lives for the family. The middle-aged man's eyes were full of fanaticism. He was already imagining, in this generation, the true dragon of his Cheng family soaring through the sky, leading the family to the mighty pinnacle, and even becoming one of those top-tier families. Trading the life of a true god like me for yours. You should feel honored. The middle-aged man buried the fluctuations in his heart deeply. After voluntarily severing his own memories, only bone-piercing killing intent remained in his eyes. The earth trembled. That unimaginably massive black mastiff gradually sank into the ground. Black and yellow primal energy rose, pressing down on you like a tremendous weight. But not only were you not crushed into meat paste, your posture instead remained tall and straight, as if that heavy pressure was nothing at all. However, the heavy pressure of that black mastiff was merely a restraint. The true killing intent lay with the other true god. A hint of surprise appeared in the middle-aged man's eyes. Although he acknowledged your monstrous talent, he didn't think you could rival a true god. But just as he was preparing to throw out his golden wheel, his movements froze. The eagerness to try in your eyes also halted. You both looked up at the exact same time, only to see that in the vast firmament above, a pair of wrinkled aged hands reached out. As they exerted force, the firmament suddenly ripped open a boundless rift. Inside was infinite void, so profound that it could suck away the souls of living beings. At the same time, an icy furious shout full of monstrous anger echoed. Third-rate Cheng family, violating the Great Wasteland Covenant, attempting to kill my Lu family's prodigy, exterminate their entire clan. You looked astonished. You were very familiar with this voice. It was exactly the fishing old man. It was also the voice of your Lu family's sixth patriarch. You knew there would be prodigies falling, but you didn't expect that the very first prodigy to fall would actually be someone from the Lu family. Beams of sky-piercing bloodlight suddenly lit up. They also appeared on the middle-aged man in front of you, and the black mastiff below. The moment the bloodlight lit up, the middle-aged man and the black mastiff, these two true gods, had eyes full of horror and fear. With absolutely no ability to resist, they were forcibly taken away. At the same time, all living beings across the Great Wasteland could clearly see a skyscreen. Within the skyscreen, billions of living beings related to the Cheng family were forcibly gathered in the air, densely packed like swarms of ants. Everyone's face was filled with terror and panic. Some broke down and cried loudly. Some had vacant stares. Whether they were mighty experts with heaven-reaching cultivation beyond true gods, or ordinary people without the slightest bit of cultivation, in this moment they were all the same. Sounds of flesh and blood exploding rang out one after another. Like firecrackers in the projection, the bodies of the Cheng family members suddenly exploded one by one. Flesh and blood splattered like blooming fireworks, until all the Cheng family members, and all those associated with the Cheng family had exploded. Only then did the sky screen disappear. But the matter was far from over. Inside the rift, the Lu family's sixth patriarch unleashed a supreme divine ability, wanting to forcibly deduce the lines of karma behind the Cheng family. Yet just as he caught a slight clue, a giant hand supporting the heavens scrambled the heavenly secrets. Ming family members, you court death. The Lu family's sixth patriarch was enraged. His hair flew wildly. His entire cultivation reached the absolute peak. He raised his hand and exchanged a palm strike with the opponent across space. But this played right into the opponent's hands. All heavenly secrets were completely scrambled. Even if he possessed boundless divine abilities, he couldn't find the truth from within them. Lu Barbarian. Isn't it just losing a clansman who was inferior in skill? It's not like all the Lu family prodigies of this generation have been wiped out. What are you getting so anxious about? The Ming family's patriarch looked indifferent, silently placing his slightly trembling right hand behind his back. A not-so-small family. Actually only traded for a single prodigy. To think this Lu Barbarian's reaction was so fast. That the harvest this time wasn't very big. But fortunately it wasn't completely without gains. Lacking a prodigy with a top-tier physique, the Lu family's ultimate combat power in the future would be reduced by one again. And their Ming family had merely done some guiding. They lost absolutely nothing for it. With their loss and his gain he profited immensely. Inferior in skill? The Lu family's sixth patriarch's expression slightly returned to calm. He raised his head staring at the Ming family's patriarch. And suddenly spoke up saying, "Then if you get beaten to death you are also inferior in skill. And deserve to die, right?" Seeing this expression on the Lu family's sixth patriarch, the Ming family's patriarch couldn't help but panic in his heart. He was just about to leave some harsh words and leave. But before he could even open his mouth, he heard an explosive shout from the Lu family's sixth patriarch ring out. "Do it!" "Do what?" The Ming family's patriarch was alarmed. He suddenly realized that the surrounding space had been sealed off at some unknown time. Immediately after one figure, two figures, three figures, along with the Lu family's sixth patriarch, a total of 7 supreme-level patriarch figures, had already surrounded him. Bead-sized drops of cold sweat formed on the Ming family patriarch's forehead. The Lu family had truly gone mad this time. Could it be they wanted to start a clan war right at the beginning of the Great Era? Regarding his own life he wasn't worried. This was the Great Wasteland. The Lu family wasn't the only top-tier family in the Great Wasteland. His Ming family was similarly one of the 4 great top-tier families. Their profound heritage was not the least bit weaker than the Lu family's. So he just needed to hold on for a moment. And he would naturally be saved. Just as he expected. How bold, Lu family! You're courting death. The moment the Lu family patriarchs appeared in the world, one after another, the long-sealed living beings within the Ming family's ancestral land also opened their eyes at this moment, awakening one after another wanting to rush to aid the outside. But on the outskirts of the Ming family, they were similarly blocked. The incomers were not people from the Lu family, but the Lin family. Fellow Taoists. Why not sit down and have a cup of tea? An old woman leaning on an ordinary wooden walking stick stood in the void, speaking with an amiable face but carrying an undeniable tone. At the same time, the rest of the surrounding Lin family patriarchs all stepped forward one step. Various holy phantoms materialized, their imposing auras monstrous. The implication was self-evident. They were there to block them. The Ming family patriarchs all had grim gazes. An old man dressed in coarse cloth clothes, with a hunched figure, and a gaze as sharp as an eagle's scanned the scene, forcibly suppressing his anger. When did the Lin family get together with the Lu family? Do you know what you are doing? I Ming Tianxing swear. If you still don't step aside, the Lin and Ming families will not rest until one is dead. Ming Tianxing's eyes were full of threat, but his heart was growing increasingly anxious, because he could clearly sense that completely asymmetrical supreme battle outside had already broken out, and the aura of their Ming family patriarch was constantly and sharply diminishing. If they didn't dare to go over soon, a massive event unseen in all eternity was probably going to happen. It was just a prodigy, who hadn't yet fully grown, that's all. Was there a need for this? Although he had previously heard that the Lu family members were stubborn, he never thought they would be this stubborn. Although this generation was a resplendent great era, the number of people from this generation who could ultimately survive and achieve this exalted status of theirs would be a few people at most. They had merely used some petty tricks to eliminate a prodigy with a very slim future possibility of achieving supremacy, that's all. Just for such a single prodigy, they were going to kill a true supreme being? Crazy, they were truly crazy. The most important thing was, the Lin family was actually going crazy right along with them. What are you mumbling about? We just stayed in the ancestral land for too long, and came out to stretch our legs, forming a group to see you old geezers. Haven't seen each other in over 10,000 years. How nice it would be to stay, have a cup of tea, and catch up on old times. It'll also save the living beings from absolute devastation. The Lin family's old woman spoke plainly. and took a sip of tea on her own. Originally, they felt the Lu family's worries were superfluous. But when the facts were placed in front of them, they were equally enraged. The Ming family's actions had indeed crossed the line. Using treacherous schemes to slaughter a child who had just entered the world, what kind of behavior is that? If they were killed in a contest between peers, it would only show that their own family members were trash. If they die, they die. But for you to use Nirvana, or even true God realm experts to kill a child who is merely at the blood-moving realm. This was a completely one-sided massacre. If every family acted like this, shamelessly targeting the junior disciples of rival families, wouldn't only they old geezers be left in the end? This was something no family could tolerate. The Ming family had truly undeniably crossed the line this time. So much so that the Ling family, who was secretly allied with the Ming family, didn't come out to say a single word at this moment. The price for crossing the line wasn't high either. Trading a prodigy for a supreme being. The great wasteland was trembling. The principles of the Tao were constantly fluctuating. A supreme-level battle was a disaster for the entire great wasteland. It was just that under a completely asymmetrical numerical crushing, the duration of this battle was compressed to the absolute limit, and the impact was also suppressed to a minimum. At the final moment, the Ming family patriarch dragged his broken body. His eyes full of unwillingness. His divine soul was burning. Endless essence chi soared into the sky. He wanted to unleash a world-shocking strike to take someone down with him. But ultimately he still failed. He was beaten alive into a bloody mist, obliterating all traces of his vitality. A supreme being fell. The firmament wept in sorrow. A rain of blood showered down. Lu family, you bully others too far. Ming Tianxing and the Ming family patriarch's eyes were splitting with rage. Terrifying coercion swept across the 8 desolates and 6 harmonies. The Lu family patriarchs were fearless, giving off the strong impression they would go to war at the slightest disagreement. And right at this moment, a ray of green light shot straight over from afar. Fellow Taoists, harmony brings wealth. How about we each take a step back? You all don't want the great wasteland to be shattered, right? The newcomer was from the last of the 4 great families. The Lin family's patriarch Lin Cheng. Naturally not. Although he felt it was somewhat strange. The Lu family's 6th patriarch said without hesitation. He didn't expect that after Ming Tianxing heard these words. He suddenly burst into loud laughter. What great audacity, Lu family! I hope that when all your prodigies are dead and gone, you will still be able to say such words. These words made the expressions of those present turn grave. Why did the Ming family have such massive confidence? Very obviously Ming Tianxing wouldn't tell them. While Lin Chengsheng seemed to know something, the corners of his mouth curled up before he left, leaving only the patriarchs of the Lin and Lu families. A trace of inexplicable anxiety suddenly arose in their hearts. Having reached their realm, they naturally wouldn't make empty boasts. Therefore the Ming family bound to have a hidden killing weapon. Tell the little ones training outside. Be careful in all things. Also, if you encounter people from the Ming family, if there's a chance, they must be killed. People of the Ming family must be killed. I'm asking you, are you from the Ming family? Beside a lake rich with spiritual energy, you casually tossed a headless corpse into the lake, asking the sole remaining prodigy in front of you. Blood diffused. Dying a small area. Areas like this. There were already over a dozen on this lake. No. We are from the Luo clan. So you're not from the Ming family. After hearing those words, that prodigy hastily shouted loudly. Bang! An explosive sound rang out. The mutilated body fell down. Forget it, it's all the same. Although the clan's instructions were to target the Ming family prodigies. But to you, you needed to target far more than just the Ming family. After all, solely offending the Ming clan alone might not necessarily compel the family to break the rules and accept you back into the clan. Energy points plus 5,684. The notification sound rang constantly in your ears. But the frequency was far less fast than before. This precisely showed that your speed of improvement had dropped down again. Working painstakingly to find resources outside was still too inefficient. Only being a parasite inside the family was the most comfortable. I need to speed things up a bit. Taking advantage of the lingering awe still present. Your eyes sank slightly, looking in the direction where the Ming family was located. The fall of the Ming family patriarch made numerous forces keep quiet out of fear. All knew of the Lu family's domineering might. And it was exactly within this time frame. If you caused a commotion, The safety factor would be massively increased. Otherwise, if a force truly got desperate after being killed, and sent experts above the true god level to deal with you, the danger level would be extreme. Let's go. The blue-scaled eagle flapped its wings, casting down a massive shadow. In a mountain range enveloped by the shadow, the solid earth became soft, transforming to be like the tide. A remarkably tall and burly man, wearing an earth-yellow cloth shirt drilled out from underground. He raised his head and looked at the departing blue-scaled eagle. His eyes were full of apprehension. Fortunately, I possess the earth treasure body, with extremely strong concealment capabilities. Otherwise, if that Dharma idol great demon discovered my tracks, I would definitely die. But it's also considered lucky. In this ordinary mountain range, an earth attribute precious orb was actually nurtured. After refining it, not only did he break through the blood-moving secret realm, he even opened up 1,000 layers in the cave heaven realm. It's just that when meeting wasteland beasts of the mountain and sea secret realm, he could only flee. Let alone a Dharma idol great demon. Don't come looking for me. Go find other prodigies. The man wore a smile on his face, as if he had already seen the image of others being discovered and devoured by this fierce bird. Just as he was about to take a step to leave this place, he noticed that at some unknown time, a spirit mouse with snow-white fur and an exceptionally agile expression was standing by his feet, staring intently at him. That gaze made him shudder somewhat, as if what was reflected in those pupils was merely a cold object. A surge of nameless anger swelled up. The man unfurled a square of his cave heaven. Instantly divine power surged and essence chi overflowed. A seemingly unrivaled giant hand grasped toward the spirit mouse. Just as it was about to approach, his vision suddenly went pitch black. He lost consciousness. The treasure-hunting spirit mouse nimbly packed him up and stored him away, and hurried in the direction where the blue-scaled eagle had left. It was left behind specifically, just to wait for this person to come out. Although the earth treasure body wasn't a particularly strong physique, it had an extremely useful function. It could accelerate the growth of spirit medicines, taking him back and burying him in the spirit medicine fields. Keeping him barely alive to exert his value could be said to be very high. The wondrous uses of special physiques have never been limited to individual cultivation alone. At this moment, a gray-brown city wall like a towering mountain range stood tall into the clouds, like a precise dividing line, clearly demarcating the inside and outside of the city. Inside the city, voices boiled, and the crowds were scattered yet dense, bustling with extraordinary liveliness. Outside, a magnificent-looking but somewhat desolate building in the city. You walked over slowly, raised your head and glanced at the plaque above. Lone Moon Pavilion. A name that sounded very beautiful. However, what didn't match its name was that this was an extremely famous assassin organization, spread throughout the entire Great Wasteland. An assassin organization, openly and publicly placing its stronghold in plain sight. It was simply unbridled. Moreover, it wasn't just this one Lone Moon Pavilion in this place that was like this. All Lone Moon Pavilions in the Great Wasteland were like this, completely unafraid of being retaliated against or exterminated. One can imagine how tyrannical their strength was. Even a family as strong as the Liu family was extremely wary of them.
Guest, is there anything you need?
Seeing you walk in, a sturdy man with a slight stubble had his eyes light up. He immediately put down the wiping chore in his hands, and excitedly came up to greet you. You glanced at him, not wanting to waste words. The blood chi within your body surged slightly. An extremely tyrannical blood chi coercion instantly enveloped the surroundings. The swords, spears, axes, and blades on the surrounding weapon racks clattered down from the vibration. The sturdy man's expression changed. He hastily brought his hands up to block his chest. Yet a moment later he wasn't affected. An esteemed guest has arrived. I have failed to welcome you from afar. I am the Sun Lord of this Lone Moon Pavilion. May I ask if your excellency wishes to issue an assassination task? In front of the sturdy man appeared a frail-looking little old man, who blocked all the coercion. On the surface he seemed to resist it very easily, but upon closer inspection one could notice that the palm he held behind him was trembling slightly. Sun Lord. The sturdy man had a face full of indignation, wanting to say something, but was stopped by the little old man, who waved his hand signaling him to step down. Although the person before him acted domineeringly, he also had the capital to be domineering. Just a slight bit of coercion made it somewhat difficult for him to resist. If he truly enraged this existence, It was truly uncertain whether they could survive. The hierarchy within the Lone Moon Pavilion was strict. Those who truly had status were divided into 3 tiers, arranged in sequence by sun, moon and star. Hearing the sturdy man's address to the little old man, you also nodded slightly. The sun tier corresponded to experts at least at the Nirvana realm. In this city with a population of only a few hundred million, he should be the person in charge of this Lone Moon Pavilion stronghold. It's not an assassination task. Just looking for people. A small matter, Your Excellency, just needs to provide some relevant information. Within at most 3 days there will definitely be a reply. Well, I'm looking for quite a few people. And the information is a bit sparse. However, none of them are people with profound cultivation. Their strength shouldn't exceed the Cave Heaven's secret realm at most. That is no obstacle. It'll just take a bit more time, that's all. Sun Lord Li hesitated for a moment, always feeling that something was off. But hearing that they didn't exceed the Cave Heaven's secret realm, he still nodded his head. Hearing this, you smiled. Then I'll trouble Sun Lord Li to help. Get the coordinates of all the prodigies from various families and forces, who are training in the Great Wasteland for me. Alright, Sun Lord Li didn't overthink it, nodding his head casually. But it wasn't until he processed the entirety of the content that he realized what the hell he had just agreed to. Investigating the prodigies of all forces who haven't yet grown up? What was he planning to do? Although completing this task wasn't difficult, and could even be said to be extremely easy, the implications behind it were not simple at all. Could it be he wanted to make a move against the prodigies of all forces? Sun Lord Li inexplicably shuddered. He thought of the family that was publicly exterminated not long ago, and the terrifying scene of a supreme being falling. No, this matter is absolutely not possible. Sun Lord Li reacted, shaking his head vigorously. He didn't even need to think about it. If he really took it upon himself to accept this task, before he even issued it, he'd be chopped into minced meat by the others in the Lone Moon Pavilion. Although it wouldn't be their Lone Moon Pavilion directly making the move. But when the time comes to lay blame, they would inevitably be somewhat affected. This deal was not worth it.
No?
Your expression instantly turned cold. Something you agreed to just fine. How long has it been, and you directly go back on your word?
Do you think I'm easily bullied?
Terrifying coercion surged. In an instant it turned the entire Lone Moon Pavilion into a pile of ruins. For a moment all the people with relatively strong cultivation cast their gazes toward the direction of the Lone Moon Pavilion. And at the very center of the coercion, Sun Lord Li was directly pressed flat onto the ground. His body was squeezed beyond its limits. Every inch of his skin cracked open. Fresh blood poured out. His state looked extremely miserable. But even at this point, he still didn't give in. Instead he advised with earnest and well-meaning words. Senior, they cannot be touched. Those prodigies truly cannot be touched. Perhaps Senior was in seclusion, and doesn't know about the matter from recently. Merely touching one person. Not only was an entire clan annihilated, even a supreme being fell along with them. Nowadays, unless it's peers fighting and killing each other. If Senior truly bullies the weak as the strong, it will be another reign of terror and bloodshed. Although my Lone Moon Pavilion is strong, making an enemy of the entire Great Wasteland, that kind of thing is still something we cannot do. Your eyebrow twitched. The coercion slightly retracted. Raising your hand, a giant palm of blood chi plucked Sun Lord Li from the ground and gripped him tightly. I am not bullying the weak as the strong. It's merely a struggle among peers, that's all. Within the rules. It will certainly not affect the Lone Moon Pavilion. Hearing your words, Sun Lord Li forced his blood-misted eyes open, took a look at the sky-piercing phenomena in the firmament above, then looked at your exceptionally young appearance, and then silently closed his eyes awaiting death. A genuine bona fide true god expert. Relying on a young face here. Saying he's actually a junior? And that his actual age is just over 10 years old? Are you kidding me? Seeing Sun Lord Li's waiting for death look. You didn't even need to think to know he definitely didn't believe it. Just as you were thinking of a way to prove it. A fluctuation that was almost hidden to the point of nothingness came over. Within the void, a small blood-colored sword barely an inch long turned into a red streak of light, piercing toward you with unrivaled speed. When you raised your hand, the power of blood chi erupted. You actually blocked this lethal move directly with your palm. He's finally arrived. When Sun Lord Li saw the small blood-colored sword, his eyes were filled with joy. But when he clearly and truly saw you relying solely on your physical body, without using any body-protecting divine abilities. Block this strike. That trace of joy dissipated in an instant, replaced by the most extreme terrifying fear. Because he knew, this old friend of his who ambushed the person before him was a powerful veteran true god. And as a true god who had fought his way up in a contest between the same level, he absolutely belonged to the powerful tier. But it was precisely such a true god. Using a sneak attack method, launching a certain kill strike, was actually blocked so easily by this old monster pretending to be young in front of him, using nothing but his physical body. Roll out here. You opened your heavenly eye. That icy vertical pupil seemed capable of seeing through endless illusions, possessing boundless might. In an instant, it located the attacker hiding within a spatial crevice, striking out with one palm. Layer upon layer of space shattered. What could be called endless blood chi blasted a figure out. Before you could make your next move, that figure actually erupted with extreme speed and fled directly, completely not daring to force a head-on confrontation. How did Old Li provoke such an existence? Zhang Muhua didn't dare to stay for a single second. He directly used forbidden methods, not hesitating to expend his essence blood and cultivation base. He had to escape from this place. Everything went beyond Zhang Muhua's expectations. His escape was actually exceptionally smooth. The person behind him seemed to have absolutely no intention of pursuing, allowing him to leave. But why did the surrounding environment feel somewhat abnormal? The fragrance of flowers, the blowing wind, the scorching sun. Everything seemed so normal. But for a true god expert like him, during a rapid escape, he shouldn't be smelling a damn thing. Killing intent condensed. The illusion shattered. Everything around completely disappeared. What appeared before him was a familiar giant hand. It was precisely this giant hand that had blasted him out of the spatial crevice. And this time, it blasted directly onto his completely unprotected body. Bang! The true god body ruptured. A rain of blood fluttered down. My illusion arts still need improvement. It was actually only enough to trap a true god for a moment. Although reaching this realm, life and death combat is decided in merely an instant anyway. Your vertical pupil closed. Retracting your hand, your gaze was indifferent. You placed it back on Sun Lordly. Logically speaking, your lone moon pavilion just attacked me, which has already broken the rules. However, I am magnanimous, so I won't pursue it. But you'd better give me the information I want quickly. How about it? The blood mist sprinkled on Sun Lordly. The pungent smell of blood made him feel as if he were in a dream. This close friend of his had actually died just like that. Lowering his head, Sun Lordly was silent for a long time. His voice hoarse, he said all right. He agreed. He had also figured it out. This was obviously not something he could resolve himself. So why must he bear it forcefully on his own? Isn't it just asking for intelligence? He'll just report it upwards. Let the higher-ups review and know about it. And send someone to deal with it. At worst, when the blame comes down from above, they could all die together. Sun Lord Li's gaze at this moment was incomparably calm. Even calmer than when he had once slaughtered an entire city. Ignoring the deaths of others was far less difficult than ignoring one's own death. Under these circumstances, he faintly sensed that his own state of mind had actually achieved a breakthrough. The next day when you arrived once again, the person in charge of the Lone Moon Pavilion was no longer Sun Lord Li. It was replaced by a new face. From the moment you stepped in, Yang Xingzhu's gaze had remained fixed on you. As a Star Lord level figure in the Lone Moon Pavilion, second only to that batch of the most powerful individuals. After receiving the news, he immediately began an investigation. The final result that came out made Yang Xingzhu even doubt the entire intelligence department. After all, how many toxic mushrooms did they have to eat to reach the heaven-defying conclusion of a 10-year-old true god? Even for the Liu family, it absolutely made no sense for such a figure to appear. But after multiple verifications, Yang Xingzhu had to believe this fact. Moreover, your style of action was fundamentally consistent with the investigation. Domineering, heavy, murderous intent. And acting exactly as you pleased. Liu family's 13th sequence. A 10-year-old killing a true god. Truly terrifying. Yang Xingzhu expressed his lamentation right to your face. At the same time, a trace of killing intent flashed unabashedly in his eyes. He truly wanted to strike you down right on the spot. Such talent was unprecedented since antiquity. It's just that the price was too high. And there wouldn't be any gain. With the Lu family's level of protectiveness over their own, the importance they placed on you would definitely be unprecedented. Ultimately the person might be killed. But his lone moon pavilion would also be wiped out. What would be the point? You frowned slightly. The blood chi all over your body surged violently. Like a terrifying giant beast awakening. Merely a wisp of killing intent. Made him feel as if he had plunged into an ice cellar. The overwhelming pressure, like moving mountains and draining seas, made him even somewhat unable to catch his breath. The strength of the person before him absolutely exceeded true gods by many levels. However, you weren't intimidated in the slightest. The lone moon pavilion putting on such a posture. Is it trying to bully the weak as the strong? Shatter my Dao heart? Obstruct my Dao path, is that it? I Lu Qingyun am fearless. The Lu family is also fearless. You directly pinned a huge accusation on Yang Xingzhu's head. This caused Yang Xingzhu's expression to stiffen. He hastily retracted his killing intent and explained. A misunderstanding, it's all a misunderstanding. I recently took a task. And caused a bit too much slaughter. I momentarily failed to control my killing intent and let it leak out. I hope the 13th sequence will not take offense. A misunderstanding? But this injury of mine is entirely real. The corners of your mouth curled up slightly. You forcibly gathered your blood chi in your 7 orifices. Instantly blood spurted out. Your appearance became extremely miserable. Cough cough despicable. The Lone Moon Pavilion actually dares to ignore the Great Wasteland Covenant. Treat all forces of the Great Wasteland as nothing. Risk universal condemnation. And bully the weak as the strong. To attack a Lu family prodigy like me right here. Now my Dao body is shattered. My blood chi has reversed. It will take at least 103 mark Saint medicines to repair it. 103 mark Saint medicines. Yang Xingzhu's mouth twitched madly. Saint medicines are already inherently precious. Let alone the highest grade 3 mark Saint medicines. Let alone 100 of them. Even if you took off a 0, he still couldn't take them out. But even though Yang Xingzhu knew perfectly well you were extorting him, he still had no other way out. He could only try his best to placate you. Who asked him to fail to control his killing intent in the beginning? And harbor thoughts he shouldn't have had? However, the terms certainly couldn't be exactly as you proposed. In my opinion, healing your Dao body doesn't require 103 mark Saint medicines. I have something even more precious than Saint medicines in my hands. It will surely have an excellent healing effect on the 13th sequence's Dao injuries. After a brief silence, Yang Xingzhu had a slight gleam appear in his eyes. He took out a purple-black spiritual orb. Inside the spiritual orb, there was a small section of a pitch-black vine. At its smooth severed end, there was liquid hanging seemingly on the verge of dripping. The aura it emitted dyed the entire spiritual orb purple-black. This small section of vine seemed to possess a bit of rudimentary sentience. Its tendrils danced about, constantly probing the weak points of the spiritual orb in an attempt to break out. Seeing your gaze fixed tightly upon the spiritual orb, Yang Xingzhu smiled secretly in his heart. Yet on the surface he showed an expression of agonizing heartache. Saint medicines are hard to find. Let alone 100 stalks. I don't even have 10 stalks here. However, although less than 1/10 of this vine remains, in terms of value alone, it would not be an exaggeration to compare it to 10 intact 3 mark Saint medicines. Because it is uniquely solitary in this world. The world's sole stock of an undying divine medicine. Divine medicine. Your mind and heart were immensely shocked. As the 13th sequence of the Lu family, you naturally knew about undying divine medicines. Uniquely solitary in the world. Containing heaven-defying good fortune. These are divine artifacts of the supreme level. Even the vast majority of patriarch-level figures have never possessed a single stalk of a divine medicine. If this was truly a segment of a divine medicine's body, its value would be truly immeasurable. However, would the person before you be so kind-hearted? You raised your guard in your heart and looked at Yang Xingzhu. You didn't believe it. Your casual extortion could actually make the other party pay such a massive price? According to your original estimation, being able to get your hands on 2 or 3 stalks of 3 mark Saint medicines, or even nearly 10 stalks of 2 mark Saint medicines would already mean the other party was stupid. But suddenly dropping such a huge one on you really made you a bit afraid to accept it. Seeing that you had some misgivings, Yang Xingzhu felt somewhat anxious in his heart. He naturally wasn't some great philanthropist. Nor was he a stupid person. Giving out this remnant body of a divine medicine naturally had its reasons. Divine medicines are to some extent similar to saint medicines, having varying effects. Some can revive the dead and grow flesh on bare bones, even allowing supreme experts to be resurrected. There are also those that surpass all the lethal poisons in the world, whose emergence is a tragedy of catastrophic proportions. And the stock he accidentally obtained in his hands belonged to the latter category. When he obtained this segment of the divine medicine, he was excited to the extreme, wanting to study its profound mysteries, obtain heaven-defying good fortune, and use it to spy upon the seat of the Supreme. Yet the result was that not only did he not make any progress, he was instead corrupted by the toxins, causing his cultivation realm to drop. In the end he had no choice but to spend a fortune to forge a spiritual orb, to trap this segment of the divine medicine, and avoid his own body being corrupted by its toxins. But this divine medicine was truly miraculous. Originally one spiritual orb could seal it for several years, but now it could only seal it for barely a month. It was as if it was constantly growing, as if it was reviving. If it continued to develop like this, he feared that in a few more decades, no, perhaps it wouldn't even last a few decades, his entire net worth would have to be thrown into this bottomless pit. So having finally encountered such an opportunity, Yang Xingzhu hatched a scheme. Rather than cutting his own flesh to give away saint medicines, it would be better to directly hand over this hot potato. This way, he wouldn't have to bear the cost of sealing it anymore, and he could avoid an even greater hemorrhage of his wealth. The most important point was, he even hoped that when the effects of this spiritual orb dissipated, the toxins of the divine medicine remnant would erupt, and poison this Lu family monster before him to death. If this method was used, even the Lu family wouldn't be able to say anything. After all, not having the ability to suppress the divine medicine, and being killed by the divine medicine instead, was purely due to one's own uselessness. It would have absolutely nothing to do with him, Yang Xingzhu, or the Lone Moon Pavilion. Yang Xingzhu spoke earnestly and persistently, trying every possible way to get you to accept it. If the 13th sequence is truly unwilling, although my pockets are somewhat empty, I have accumulated a few one-mark saint medicines. They should also be able to barely heal the sequence's Tao injuries. Then as for this segment of divine medicine I will. Yang Xingzhu retreated in order to advance, feigning reaching out his hand to take it back. But while his hand was still halfway there, it was stopped by you. Hold on. You were seen with a faint smile between your brows. And you spoke up, leave the divine medicine, and take out those few saint medicines that can barely heal it too. They can perfectly heal my psychological trauma. Hearing these words, Yang Xingzhu clenched his fists, then quickly relaxed them. He very readily took out 3 brocade boxes. Engraved on them were miniature formations, used to prevent the essence qi of the saint medicines from leaking out. After you inspected the goods right in front of Yang Xingzhu's face, only then did you satisfyingly store everything away. Since the 13th sequence's injuries are healed, then please take your leave. The information you need, we will relay to you in real time through the Lone Moon Pavilion's methods. There will be no need for you to visit our branch. However, as for the remuneration, let's just forget about it. Consider it as an apology gift from my Lone Moon Pavilion. Yang Xingzhu looked at the brocade boxes you hadn't put away yet, and shook his head. Since that's the case, then I'll trouble you. You couldn't be bothered to stay here any longer either. Having just gotten your hands on the divine medicine remnant, you were rushing back to eat it raw. Returning to your residence, you sat cross-legged, took out the purple-black spiritual orb without the slightest hesitation, and directly crushed it. After crushing the spiritual orb, you directly opened your mouth, and grabbed that segment of vine in one bite. The moment it entered your mouth, you didn't even show the slightest sign of being corroded by the toxins. The entire segment of vine transformed into a mass of pure airflow, and entered your body. The system's notification sound rang by your ear. Devoured a segment of the undying divine medicine, the immortal falling green vine. Energy points plus 30 billion. Detected that it contains the corrupting immortal spiritual charm template. Currently replenishing.